Okay. I think I am live. Let's make sure the audio is working. I am. And let me tell the Discord crew that I am on camera. And let's get our music going. Hang on. When that piano gets going, it makes me really happy. Just makes me happy. Okay. I promised a few days ago we were discussing a certain kind of monitor, actually, and and I said, "Oh, I have a monitor of like that." Specifically, it was a monitor that's the intention was to have a monitor that's square, right? Because the discussion was around 16 by 9 versus 4 by 3, and I was explaining that lots of monitors many years ago were absolutely not 16 by 9. Lots of them were 4 by 3. And as I recall the transition, oh, hi, Liv, big, good to see you. Good to see you, of course. And I was telling people that, I think it was I want to say in the decade of the 2000s, up to 2010, we started with 4 by 3 and very few people had a 16 by 9, but we started seeing them. By the time that decade ended, LCD displays as well as 16 by 9 was really dominant. The majority of people had them. But yeah, for a long time it was 4 by 3. And I grew up in that era of 4 by 3, which I don't know if that was true for, internationally. I think it might have been. I think Japan may have been ahead of us with 16 by 9. We used to hear stories about people coming back from Japan. Especially the story that I heard was related around legislators, like politicians, who were visiting in a diplomatic sense Japan, coming back and wondering why our televisions looked so low resolution and blurry. And so that's how we ended up, people started getting interested in high definition TV because they saw it in Japan. Anyway, someone said, well, it's too bad no pen tablets would be, you couldn't really use a pen tablet with a 1x1 monitor. So first I said, I have such a monitor, which is the LG Dual Up. Let me find a picture of it. Now give me a second, because I'm in a slightly different computer configuration today. LG Dual Up, where is it? There we go. Let's see. Google. Oops. Got two keyboards in front of me, which is critical for today's demo. But it'll confuse me because I'll be typing in the wrong keyboard. Okay, let's drag it over here. Come on. I'm using it right now, and it's very unusual. You'll see in a second. If I can get the internet to load on that thing. There we go. Okay, give me a second, and you should be able to see the monitor. Okay, and I think it is this, right? Let's see. You're seeing it? Yeah, you should be able to see it right now. Well, there we go. That is the LG Dual Up monitor. And there's a privacy notice, of course. So it is not it's not 1-to-1. So it is 16 by 18. So it's a little bit taller than it is wide, but it is, as monitors go, it's pretty square. So what is 16? Hang on a second. I'm going to find something else. 16. So it's 8, yeah, it's 8 by 9, but let's see, Live. I'm waiting for 27-inch 5K mini LED monitors. More models should come out. Oh, okay, interesting. Live big. I'm just hoping that we don't end up with that the price of monitors starts to get growing as well. I don't think they're necessary for AI, so I think we're probably safe. Myself, I am holding out for a while. My feeling, I'm not very sensitive to high refresh rates or even 4K, to be completely honest, except that really, big monitors. So for me, a lot of the things that are happening in the monitor space, because I'm not a gamer either, so I don't need 120 hertz, 250 hertz. A lot of things that are happening in the monitor space, I just don't really need or intensely care about. What I am waiting for is that next big monitor technology, whether it be OLED or micro OLED or micro LED or something. Basically, I just want really thin, lower power, but brighter devices. I just want the best of everything. It's quite contradictory. And I think when there's a major change, I'll be happy to get new monitors. But right now, I must have 15 monitors, and I don't need any more. So I'm going to hold out as long as I can. I might be convinced with a higher refresh rate. Some 27-inch 5K monitors are almost 1,000. See, I think, just so you know, my first LED monitor, which is a Philips Brilliance monitor, I'm going to look it up for a second because it was a real, it was interesting. Let's see, Philips, because I want to show you how crazy it was to have such a monitor. Philips Brilliance. Yeah, here we go. Oops, my music stopped somehow. I don't know why. I clicked something. Oh, I muted. That's the problem with two keyboards. I'm always pressing the wrong thing. Okay, hang on. Yeah, here it is. Philips Brilliance, a line of professional grade monitors. I'm looking at the one from 2000, from 2000. Yeah, this is probably it. So this Philips Brilliance monitor cost me $1,000. And that was considered cheap in the year 2000. And it was cheap in 2000. Hi, Saul. Good to see you. So I always thought monitors were going climbing down or descending in price, and they were for a long time. I mean, to be honest, they are still very cheap. I mean, with inflation, that 18-inch or 21-inch Brilliance monitor is probably $2,000 in today's money. But they seem to be climbing back up again. So I just don't. 5K to me seems like I wouldn't personally benefit from it with my eyes. And to me, I've always interpreted 5K as just adding more strain to the computer, meaning it's just having to work harder to deal with it. But I don't get many benefits from it. I would probably pick a higher refresh rate monitor, I think. Anyway, 16 by 18 monitors, so 1 by 1. And then someone was saying, which tablet can you use with it? And of course, I had to reveal to them, there is such a tablet. And here it is. It's the Wacom PTZ-1230. Let's get there. Let's find an image of it. It's a 12 by 12. Yeah, this is real. It's not this one. This is the overhead view. It is square. You're seeing it look slightly not square because of this darker rectangle up here. That's just where the cover attaches. That's not really part of the digitizer. So it is square, the active area. I showed this picture to somebody and they thought I had stretched it with AI to make it. But no, it's a real monitor. It's an absolutely real monitor. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Hi, Koga. Good to see you. Good to see you. Digital Fracture says, functionality over bells and whistles. I don't care for useless things. I like core functionality, and it has to do well. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And that's why I'm waiting for the next big tech. Okay? And I really care about them being not as, sorry, how can I gotta say this? I want them to be brighter and have less power, meaning they generate less heat. And I want them to have, and yeah, I guess greater resolution would be better. But there's not any big jumps coming right now, right? I don't really care about OLED. I watch my monitor. I'm really in a relatively dark room most of the day. So the idea of an OLED being 1,000 nits is not relevant to me, because I already feel my monitors are bright enough. I don't need them to be brighter. I don't need to be looking at the sun in the middle of a dark room. They're totally like, my monitors are, between 200 and 500. I mean, I'm talking about pen displays are like 200 nits. So yeah, I want that. Let me give you an example of something I would like. Now here's the catch. There's features that are core to a monitor, and then there are features that are sort of adjacent to a monitor. Some of these adjacent features I'm really interested in, and they're not necessarily even monitor features. They're in the ecosystem. Let me give a great example. I would love if you could do the following. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 6 monitors, 1 iPad in front of me right now. What's a common complaint when you have multiple monitors, especially when they're different brands, different models? The colors don't match. I would love to be able to just take a normal phone and have tell the computer, hey, look, talk to my phone, and you do something. You look at the 2 monitors on the phone's camera, and somehow make them as close as possible as you can with the colors. I know you can't make them brighter than they physically are capable of, or change their gamut, but just make them look as close as possible. That's a feature I would pay more for that feature, honestly, even though it's not a core feature, right? Touch is another example. I don't think you need touch on a big monitor, but as a monitor gets close, I have a 19-inch monitor right in front of me, a portable one. When you have something small in front of you, you tend to want to touch it, because we're so used to using iPads these days. So I do want a little bit of that. I do think it'd be nice if monitors respond to touch. I think it would be really good if monitors responded to pens, honestly. Now, we mentioned in the last stream that Wacom is working on technology that merges the digitizer of both active digitizers and EMR to have one layer that supports both. And they're working with some partner, we think Samsung, on that. So it's really within the realm of possibility that you could have monitors that would work with a pen or a capacitive stylus and support touch. That is a wild but very plausible future in the near term, right? Kowiga, the answer to your question is yes, and I'm going to demonstrate that in this stream. You're absolutely going to see that it does in fact work. This 12 by 12. Digital Fracture says I dim them down so I don't blow out my colors. Yeah, I often do not get to the brightest for that very reason, and not burn out after second year of use. I've been really fortunate. My monitors have lasted forever. I have never actually had a monitor. Actually, in 30 years, let me count from the year 2000. So in 26 years, because that's when I first LCD monitor, I've had exactly one LCD monitor fail. It just went black, could not display anything. That was a BenQ monitor, and that was literally like 18 years ago. So it's been a long time. In that time, and I've had lots of monitors at work at Microsoft as well as at home. I have run into, I'm literally going to count how many stuck pixels I've run into. My Philips Brilliance had one stuck red pixel, and that's it. I've only had one. Actually, sorry, I'm missing one more. There was one at work that had stuck pixel. I think it was stuck, like it was turned off. So in 26 years, I've had 2 monitors. There must have been 50 that have had, just 2 pixels that went off. So not bad, honestly. So should it be better? Yes. I know some people get lots of dead pixels or whatever, stuck pixels, and it's not nice. Okay, let me fix the volume in my ears here. There we go. Let's see. Live Big says, I used nothing but my MacBook for a year and I can't go back to 32-inch 4K. I can understand that. I will say for me, it's a little, I'm fine with that. It looks fine for me, but you have to remember my 32-inch displays are like 4 feet away from me because that's easier on my eyes. So at 4 feet away, I can't pick out individual pixels at all, right? So to me, the fact that it's a 143 pixels per inch, it just doesn't register to my eyes. But if I was putting my eye like, here's my iPad. If it was like this, I'd notice. This is like about a foot away. I would have to absolutely notice. Okay, so let me move a few things out of the way here, and so because I need to show you things. Give me a second. And we have news to go through too. Plenty of news, trust me. Clip Studio news and all sorts of little goodies. Oh, and I made a new purchase. I bought my 131st tablet a couple of days ago, which will be arriving late Friday evening. I will be doing a stream on that too, probably on Saturday. Okay, so first of all, the monitor, which I have, it's installed in front of me. So let's show it to you. It is, here. There it is. And I'm gonna have to adjust the hang on a second. Okay. So just to show you that, here's my hand. You can see my hand right there, right? And let me also put in where is my camera? Why is my camera not being seen here? I'm gonna push this to the back. There we go. There's my face. So again, this is 16 across by 18 down. Probably it looks even more distorted because of where the camera is looking at it, but there it is. And you can see I have my my new driver UI for Open Tablet Driver called Open Tablet Artist is there. And Open Tablet Artist has detected several tablets. 2 are connected, 1 is not connected. One is the Wacom Moving 13, which is I'm looking down at. And then the Wacom PTZ-1230. This is the Intuos 3 12x12. In case you're wondering where it's at, don't worry, we'll show it to you in a second. There it is. There it is. Okay? I'm actually using it like a little mouse pad right now. Okay? So we're going to use, and when did this tablet come out? Let's take a quick look here. 1 second. Let's go to my database. Where is my database? My drawing tablet data explorer. I'm going to take a look here. This is PTZ-1230. Okay. Let's go there. This is the Intuos 3 12x12. PTZ-1230. PTZ is what tells you Intuos 3. And it was released when? Year 2004. Okay? So this tablet is 22 years old. And this is the Intuos 3. It was I think it's, what is it called? The ZP501E. I think it's called the Intuos 3 grip pen. Okay? This is when Wacom went silver. They went very silver with this series. Koga, I think I do have a Gammon display. I think I briefly tried it, I think. But if you want, I can do it. I'll have to double check my streams. I might have done a stream on it, but if not, I can. I'm certainly willing to do that. So we're going to try using this, okay? Now, the first thing you need to know is that, in fact, I'm not using Wacom's driver because I am doing some active testing with, of course, Open Tablet Artist, okay? Of course I'm going to do that. So let's take a look. You can actually see Open Tablet Artist is here. It's running on that monitor. But I'm going to bring it down a little bit into the display so you can see it, okay? And so let's switch that. There we go. There we go. That's Open Tablet Artist. And I'm going to just resize this window a little bit. Give me a second. That way you can see more of it. So what do you see? It says there's a conflicting driver detected. That's you don't need to worry about that in this case. It says the Wacom moving area. I'm gonna go ahead and just fix that, whatever. I'll tell you what the problem is. The moving 13, the area is just mapped to across displays, and I'll just fix that. Actually, I'll make it like this, and then back to home. So there's the PTZ-1230, and if you go to tablet, you can see some specifications about it. And what's important here is to see the mapping. Okay, oops, I'm looking at the moving. Let's get back there. There we go. There's the the monitor is 16 by 18. The tablet is 12 by 12. So for the active area to work, it's a little bit narrower, right? But I get to use 88.9% of the active area. So it's a large space, right? It is a large space. It's weird. I've actually never, I have used this tablet before, but I've never really drawn on it. So we'll see what that feels like. Kauga says, is the Intuos for the Pro lineup? Yeah. So in this era, 2004, actually, let me make it simpler for you. If it says the word Intuos in a number, it's actually a Pro tablet. Okay, so Intuos 2, Intuos 3, Intuos 4, Intuos 5, those were actually, you can consider those Intuos Pro. If they had continued that naming, the current Intuos Pro tablet would be like the Intuos 8. Okay, so at some point, I forgot exactly when, Wacom really likes the Intuos name, and they decided, oh, let's stop using the word bamboo and start using Intuos for the consumer. That was really confusing. So if it says Intuos in a number, it's a Pro tablet. If it says Intuos in a Pro, it's a Pro tablet. If it just says Intuos, it depends on which year the tablet was made. If it was made like in, I don't know the date exactly, 1996 or something, like it's old, that's a Pro tablet. If it's later than that, it's a consumer tablet. It's a little confusing. But yeah, this is a Pro tablet. This was absolutely a Pro tablet. And I'm not inferring that. It says that on the box, right? It says that in the literature. Wacom describes the tablet as a Pro tablet. And there's all sorts of other evidence that supports that. Okay, so the active area is set up, and I'm going to use the full area. Let me go ahead and just show you what I'm looking at with the driver. And calibration I don't need because it's not a pen display. I'm not going to set up the buttons. Everything is set up here, and I'm going to open up the driver. And you can't see my hand right now, but you'll understand what I'm getting at. I'm going to just draw on it and just tell you if anything feels weird. Okay. And for this, I'm going to move the driver to the monitor and then show it to you as the overhead. Okay. Oops. I got to change the, there we go. Oops. Why is it doing that? Yeah, let's just zoom in again. There we go. Let's see. Cube is here. The first Intuos non-Pro tablet came out in 2013 with the CTX X80 line. Okay, that's good to know. I will actually note that in my Wacom. I have like a document which is like Wacom history. I'm going to actually note that specific comment. Hey Google, please remember this for my follow-ups later. The first Intuos non-Pro tablet came out in 2013 with the CTX X80 line. This is information from Cube. That's the end of my note. For anyone who might be confused what just happened there, why am I speaking out loud like I'm a little bit touched. When I do these live streams, a day or two later, when the transcript is available, I ask Google to look through the transcript, find all the times I talk to Google out loud, and then write follow-up notes for me. So whenever you tell me something I'm going to follow up on, I tell Google, remember this, and then I ask it to give me the list of things to do. Okay, so let us just try. Now, I normally would not use a video like this to show you what I'm drawing because it's so weird, and it's going to be a little blurry and things. But I kind of have to right now because this monitor is it's an unusual aspect ratio compared to my normal 16:9. So it's just going to be a little more convenient for me to do this. So I'm going to just increase the size of Open Tablet Artist. Oh, by the way, for anyone who's wondering, these gradients here, that is not rendered by bitmap. That's actually a set of gradients dynamically rendered. So, okay, so let me just tell you a few things here. If I had to tell you right now how much the IAF is of this pen, and I have several, I'm using just one of them, I would say it's not like that amazing 1 gram force value, okay? This is the ZP501E, okay? So that's not the tablet's fault, it's the pen, okay? And it's not bad, it's not bad. But overall, let me just tell you, this is very responsive, right? If you picked up this tablet right now, you would be like, this feels totally fine, okay? It feels like a tablet you'd be able to use today. Now, we haven't done every test, but I want to make sure you know it just feels totally fine. Now, the reason I emphasize this point is today, all tablets from all brands are starting to get pretty good. In 5 years, I think you're going to have a hard time judging the difference, okay? Especially on just drawing. On the color gamut support and refresh rate, yeah, there are differences. But in terms of just raw drawing performance, it's getting really difficult when you have these more modern tablets with these modern pens. And the reason I'm emphasizing this about this tablet from 2003 or 2004 is I always like to remind you, Wacom's been in the game for 40 years, and this tablet is 22 years old. So I just want to emphasize, Wacom's been at the top of the game for that 40 years, and definitely for the last 20 years. They've been good for a long time, you know, okay? Now they have improved, and we might see a little bit of that. The last time I tried a Intuos 3 tablet, I noticed diagonal wobble. Now that was with a different model, so we'll see if that is going to happen here. We'll do the test. But basically, where Wacom was 20 years ago, other tablets are starting to surpass, right? But that just wants to show you where people stand. Okay, everything feels really nice. It feels just really super nice. Okay, let me just take a look at the comments. Okay, Digital Fracture, you gave me a smiling emoji, so I hope that's because of my comments about talking to Google. Like, I hate to say that, hey Google, please remind. What I really want to do is have a little, I don't know what you call her. You know, have you heard of Neurosama? She's like a little AI creature on this guy's stream, and he talks to her in a very natural way, and she's just there to add interesting comments to the stream. But I'd like to be able to just say, hey, Sally, remember this, without having to do this weird, hey, Google, please add this to my follow-ups. That's all AI, right? Oh, by the way, Open Tablet Artist is all vibe coded. I just want to make sure everyone knows that too. Okay, so let's clear this. So it just feels good. We'll do some real tests. Touched, yes, touched. That's an older way of saying there are issues with somebody. Touched in the head, touched in the head. People said that about me, so I'm not. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I was I I think the modern word for the way I behaved when I was in high school was I was cringe. I was very cringe about a lot. I think I'm still cringe actually. Okay, Scribble is good. By the way, Scribble supports multiple brushes. Like it'll test tilt. Tilt works fine. I'll go ahead and just test it, right? And Tilt 2 does one more thing, which it's just not obvious. There's no barrel rotation, so I'm not going to use it. Okay. But everything else feels pretty good here. I mean, I have no complaints. Let's do a little bit of... Now for this, I'm going to open up Krita. Oh, you're in the age bracket? Okay. Touched. We have such a diverse range of age ranges, like in my Discord and on stream. Sometimes we get people who are like 16, all the way to a couple of people who are 50, and almost 60. In 5 years, I'll be 60, by the way. Which reminds me, I had this conversation with my mother last night, and I said, you know, it's funny that me, meaning myself, and my brother, I said, Mom, you know, we all look very young for our ages. Like, I don't think anyone would guess that you, Mom, are 80 years old. And my brother, who's 54, he easily passes for early 30s. Easily, right? He always tells me his street age is 20. When people ask his age, he gives it out as like 28. His street age, he calls it. Okay, let me find my testing thing. I've got a box of testing goodies here. My testing thing is a ruler, by the way. Let's see. I got a ruler, I got a calipers, I got a magnetic field film, detecting film. But I just want this. It's just a plastic ruler. It's not designed for this task. It actually came with a microscope, so I just reuse it for this task. It's got a smooth edge. Okay. So, what do we need? We need Krita for this test, right? By the way, I just want to show you one more thing before I show you this test. This is the reality of having a large tablet. This is what I actually do. You're going to see... Yep, right there. When you have a large tablet and you're not drawing, you just end... I do this. I assume other people do. You just put your keyboard right on top of the tablet, even mouse, okay? This is just the natural, because they're just too big to do anything else with. Like, even moving it out of the way is difficult. So you just put things on top. Let's see. Digital fracture, right. I'm half native, and when I tell people my age, they card me and make sure I'm not lying. I was carding in the casino I worked at. I just like, oh, interesting. Interesting. I didn't know. Sometimes you can feel, you know, certain ethnic groups can just look young. But that's great. I think it's a superpower. I think it's a superpower because let me just be completely honest with you. When you get to be a certain age in an industry, it does affect your job prospects. Now, I retired before all that what happened, but if I talk to colleagues, they do get concerned about it. About layoffs that happened at Microsoft. Age was a specific part of the retirement package, by the way. And you do start to worry that it limits your job prospects because employers want young people for lots of interesting reasons, not all of which are mean-spirited or anything. But especially when you feel like you have more to do, and I certainly do. And I will probably re-enter the workforce at some point. And I think it works in my interest that I don't look 55, right? I think if I shaved, you would have a tough time saying I was 50. I think you'd put me in early 40s. Some people think I'm younger. I've had, even this year, someone said they thought I was like 36. I'll take that any day. Let's see. Oh, Lumia Art's here. Oh, so I see. Saul has asked a question. Let's take a look at some of these questions. Where's Saul's question? What are your thoughts on TO on text tablet reviews? So first of all, let me just be right up front. I'm a huge fan of TOs. I have been for a long time. I would put him at the top of reviewers. Okay, at the top. And I really do feel the following way. So I have to speak like I'm not myself, because obviously if I test a tablet and I like it, I buy them all the time. But if I was a person who was not like really into tablets, the advice I'd give to that person would be, do not buy a tablet until TO has reviewed it. Okay? Look at other people's reviews also, because they're very informative. I'll talk about some things they do, which is interesting. But TO has a couple of things he does which are very remarkable. First of all, he is an artist, okay? And that's important that you get someone who's actually an artist, okay? Number two, he is very good at communicating, okay? It's not a skill set everyone has. He's got it. He's very clear. He's very thorough and methodical. That's the third thing he does, thorough and methodical. His reviews tend to follow a very, and you can see it because literally the first few seconds of his reviews are an outline with timestamps of the topic he's going to talk about. I love that. He also doesn't wait to tell you at the end what the truth is. He just starts at the beginning. Here's the summary, right? He tells you right up front, it's a good tablet, it's a bad tablet, get it, don't, here's the problems, and then he'll tell you the details. And because his structure though is very good, from him I learned to test certain things, okay? So I would definitely put him at the top tier of reviewers. Brad is also in that top tier. It's a different style though, right? Like I think Brad is great for, he's, I think, great at humanizing the use of the tablet. So he'll reveal things about using the tablet that may not be totally obvious, right? He also, I think, because he's also a professional artist, he will also reveal things about the usage patterns which you need to know about. So he's good. Garcia Arts, now his channel's in Spanish, so you have to get it translated, on in the captions or something. He's also very good. And all three people use a lot of tablets, okay? And Ryan, IQ Draws, I think it's IQ Draw stuff. He's great. He's part of our Discord channel. Also, what's good about Ryan is he's a member of the Magma drawing application. So, I think it's great to have someone who's in the world where they're actually doing a creative app, okay? Who else? I know I'm missing somebody. Oh, David Ravoy. David Ravoy is great. You'll see his reviews, I think, tend to be using tablets with Linux. And he does a test, which I've been very scared to do. I'm going to pretend to do it. I'm not joking, by the way. He takes the tablet and he puts it like this. And there's a close-up camera. And he takes his keys and he tries to scratch the screen. And now he's not done then. Then he takes an edged tool, what do you call it? Box cutters. And he takes a sharp edge, a knife, a box cutter, and tries to scratch the screen. And so you'll see what happens, right? By the way, I want to assure you that no screen is unscratchable, okay? But it should give you a lot of confidence about the strength and the resistance certain screens have to scratching. Let's see. Oh, Saul is 61. Okay. So Saul has crossed the 50s barrier. Let's see. So those are, who did I name? There was Tio, Brad, Garcia Arts, Ryan, IQ Draw Stuff, and David Ravoy. There may be a few more, but those are the top. Remember, I don't consider myself a reviewer. I'm just a guy who has a lot of tablets and talks about stuff. I'm more of a tablet enthusiast, right? A researcher. Tablet researcher would be a better way of describing me. Watch them. I'm not saying there aren't other people who are equally useful, but I'm just gonna be honest with you. A lot of tablet reviews are basically. I tried it. And Cube knows what I'm talking about. People will say like, "Oh, I tried the tablet. I liked it. It's good." I'm like, okay, they'll read off the specs. I'm like, that's not enough, right? If you're gonna review it, review it, and there should be things you're testing, right? And there are things to test, right? But diagonal wobble being one of them. Okay, LumiArt. I had Intuos 3 large, but it was uncomfortable for me. Too big to have my keyboard comfortably. It's kind of thick and bezels are glossy plastic. My hand was sticking to them, restricting movement. Yeah, it is. Even this one's thick. It's about an inch something thick. So it's Wacom tablets traditionally have been very thick as they got bigger. They're much thinner now, but also they're much smaller now. Yeah, and Intuos 3 also had that glossy plastic. Some people love it. Some people are kind of like, oh, that was weird. Let's see. Oh, Kanina has joined us. It's been a while, Kanina. Good to see you. Good to see you. Koiga says, saw the stream you did with Brad. That was a fun one. I want to do one like that with Tio. I always invite, by the way, if you're in my Discord server and you want to talk on stream, let's do it. But you know what? I make that offer. No one wants to do it. I'm not Tio said he would, but I'm talking about my Discord crew. Everyone's like, no, I don't want my face on camera. Then I'm like, okay. But if you want to just talk with your voice, that would also be good. Tablet Kitten and I did a little joint stream a year or so ago. Let's see, Kanina says, that put my teeth on edge talking about scratching screens. Yeah, it's very nerve-wracking. Maybe one day I'll do it, honestly, because I do like the bravery David Revoy shows in doing it. Okay, let's do our test. I want to get back to testing here. Let's see, Koga says, I don't know, most people review tablets while you're more like the tech geek who have a huge obsession. Yeah, that's right. My channel really is about creative technology and how to use it and how to understand it. And that's one of the gaps I felt with tablets and all sorts of things, which is we need to know a little bit about the tech to understand how things work. And I don't even necessarily mean the hardware. Let me give you an example. How many times have you heard someone say, this tablet has more pressure levels and so it's better? Now, we hear that all the time. Every time the topic comes up, I rant and rave against it. But the one thing I contributed to that discussion is I did some research and collected some data, right? And anyone could have done it. Maybe someone has, I didn't see it. So I apologize to those people. But that's the thing I try to do is like, how can we take advantage of what we know about the technology, whether it be hardware or software, to make better choices about the devices we buy. That's why I'm telling you right now, it is my opinion that all tablets are marching inexorably to like equal levels of goodness, okay? Saul says, scratching screens, that's why I don't use the styles with a metal tip. Yeah, I agree. I avoid metal tips. Some people use them and I say, hey, look, I can't in good conscience say use them. Even though technically, look, what do you call it? Is it Mohs hardness scale of this glass is higher than the hardness of the metal tip. That's the truth. In theory, they should never scratch. However, we've seen people scratch their tablets with plastic nibs. So we have to realize something is going on. Some people think it's little particulate pieces of metal that are sharp edges. We don't know. But it's a mystery. So for that reason, also the metal tip, in my experience, might be implicated in increasing the IAF of pens permanently. So I just avoid them. Some people use them and they feel like they don't scratch and they haven't changed the IAF. So your mileage may vary, but I do not recommend them. Okay, let's get Krita. That's really what I want to do here. Krita. Let's do some testing here. I'm very curious with the diagonal wobble. Really, honestly, if the diagonal wobble works, this tablet will work totally fine. let's see. Let's create a new. And I apologize. You're going to see the video stream for this because again sharing it. It's really hard to share a display that's this size and resolution the way I had planned because it's not 16 by 9. Okay. Nothing crazy there. I'm going to create a new. Okay. So for this, this is always tricky with a pen tablet. One more thing I wanted to tell you is no one's gonna believe me, but I can't literally demonstrate it, but I'll show you what I mean anyway. Okay, I have the tablet on top. The keyboard on top of the tablet. Half of you think I'm lying when I say this, but it has happened to me. I filmed it. Some digitizers, tablets, and some keyboards talk or interfere with each other, would be a better phrase. There's at least one tablet I own from Huion where I can take a certain keyboard and move it around like this, and I'm not joking with you. The keyboard will act as it will move the pointer. You can't click, but it will do that. So the reason I bring this up is you're seeing me do this. I just want to let you know there's a possibility putting a keyboard on top of your tablet will actually interfere with the tablet. Doesn't happen with all tablets, okay? And even for my case, it doesn't happen I have to make it happen by positioning things in a funny way, but it can happen. I just want to warn you of that case. Okay, sorry. Let's move down here. Or up. Why is it fighting me? It's like trying to not go. It is doing everything in its power not to zoom in. Come on. I'm not going to let you do that. Oh, it's so funny. It just will not do it. Oh, I think I know why. Let's zoom in. You're seeing me. That's my teleprompter, by the way. What is it? What the hell is it doing here? Okay, there we go. Maybe it's a little bit more zoomed. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is just draw. Oh, Lumia Art says 100% dust. I drew outside a lot with an iPad, and it's the dust sand that settles on the screen that results in scratches. I don't know what's in that dust, but it must be some crazy stuff. Lumia Art, something someone mentioned once is they worked in a. I'm not a. In an industrial location where there was a lot of metallic dust. I guess like metal was being drilled and I don't know the word for little bit shavings of metal, but like microscopic. And they said they didn't have tablets there, but they said that every LCD screen in that area within, I don't know, let's just say months, ended up like very scratched up just from the ambient metallic dust landing and people touching the screen. So that's another, I think, piece of evidence in favor of diamond. We don't know. I mean, I don't know necessarily diamond dust, but maybe really sharp edges do something, right? Remember, we also have to remember that glass is not, that glass that you see on tablets is not flat. It itself has like lots of microscopic ridges because it's anti-glare glass. So the scratch may do something to these little tiny structures, okay? Is it breaking off little pieces? I don't know. Maybe the scratches are, maybe there's like oil embedded in the scratches. Not scratches, but in the surface, and the dust is doing something to it. And we need someone with an electron microscope to really definitively answer this. I don't have an electron microscope. Okay, let's do a little bit of line testing here. So the first thing I'm going to do is just draw something just to see if, so I don't want the brush editor. I want this brush, 5 point. I don't want any smoothing. And I apologize, I know you cannot see this clearly, okay? But that is just the nature of this weird system I've got going on. I'm just gonna draw a line just to see how, 10 centimeter line, approximately. Okay, I'm gonna just tell you up front, I can see wobble. It's not crazy, but it doesn't live up to what you'd expect from an Intuos Pro, okay? It's not bad. It would be considered, we'll see. I'm not sure, it's not, it'd be considered okay in a modern sense. Okay, so let me erase this. Oops. Where's my delete here? There we go, okay. I'm gonna try to keep it at 45 degrees. I'm gonna zoom in as well to keep this a little more obvious for you. Okay. So I think that's about 45. So 3 of these. I would call it, it's okay. There's, Kawuga, there's no, yeah, Kanina, I'll be streaming for a while. Yes, yes. We got plenty to talk about today. Is this with or without smoothing? Accidentally I had smoothing turned on, so let's turn it off. My mistake, I apologize. So that was with smoothing, but yeah, we want to turn it off. There we go. I'm gonna turn it off to none. Okay. Let me repeat this test. Thank you for asking, because you caught me making a mistake. And actually, I'm going to zoom this out just a little bit as well. Okay, here we go. Repeat the test. The first test is a slow stroke. 3 slow strokes. Believe it or not, I'm seeing less wobble here. A little bit. A little more there. Not every line has the same amount, but all at this speed seem to be having some. Okay, I would call this okay amount of wobble. Let's try now a slightly faster. I still see some wobble. You see it? So there's no smoothing, now fast. I did change zooms, so Kawuga, that might also be the reason why it seems like there's less. So now, I still see a little wobble. Okay, let's talk about this. 3 strokes each. One took about 4 seconds to draw. The second set took 2 seconds, and the third set took 1 second per stroke. Okay, let's talk about what this means. First of all, what we expect to see in a tablet is that as I get to a fast stroke, even if there's wobble at slow strokes, it'll get less and disappear as we get to fast strokes. That's not what we see here. We actually see wobble in all 3 speeds. So there's different, gradations of how much wobble there is. Like, I'll feel okay if there's a little bit of wobble at slow speeds only. But when you see wobble at medium and fast speeds, then that's like, okay, that's unusual, because almost in a certain mathematical sense, when you're drawing fast, wobble just sort of naturally disappears. At least that's what we observe in tablets. So this, unfortunately, there's no nice way to say it, but this is not bad, but it would not live up to what we expect to see out of a Wacom Intuos Pro 2017 or a 2025, and maybe even earlier. So this really is an older generation of Wacom. I found this in another Intuos 3 as well. Okay, now, so there's nothing wrong with the tablet. This is just the reality of what it's like back then. So I think this kind of wobble was what was standard back then. Non-Wacom tablets. So part two of the story is, well, non-Wacom tablets do at least this good, if not better. Okay? So the entire industry has improved. Wacom has improved and non-Wacom have improved. Okay? Lumiart's asking, does tilt influence it? I think it shouldn't on those pro Wacom specifications. I will test tilt. To be specific, in this case, Lumiart, I was drawing at about a 45-degree angle. I will try at 90 degrees and see if there's any difference, okay? So give me a second, we'll try that. Kauga says, is the latency like quite high compared to modern tablets? Not at all. This has as little latency as you'd expect from any modern Intuos Pro. It feels super responsive. If Cube is still there, I guess maybe a question for you, Cube, because Cube is very sensitive to latency in the hardware. Cube, have you noticed? I know we talk about hardware smoothing in tablets. Is this model known for hardware smoothing or not? I thought it wasn't, but if you've done some tests, I'd love to know. Okay, so this was at 45 degrees, which is, and I do test at 45 degrees. That's how most people draw, right? Testing at 90 is like kind of it's a test, but it's not reflective of what humans actually do. Okay, we're gonna do the same test, but actually, you know what? Let me save this. Oops. Let's save it so that we don't get lost here. Let's see. This is PTZ-1230. I'm gonna put this in the right folder here. 1230. Diag wobble at 45 degrees. Okay, let me save that. Okay, I need to take a quick break. I'll be right back in just a minute, so just hang on. Okay, I'll be back. I forgot to pick up something. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry for the delay. So what I went to go look for something. Let me tell you what I was looking for. I couldn't find it. Wacom has, or used to have, mice for their tablets. Basically, there were pens on a different body. And I thought I had one, but I couldn't find it. So I'm going to search again sometime later. But I just wanted to show you the pen in action. I don't know if Open Tablet Driver actually supports, sorry, the mouse in action. I don't know if Open Tablet Driver supports mice. So that's another test I need to look into. Let's see. Saul says, do you think the upcoming iPhone Ultra might use some sort of stylus, given that it will be basically a phone mini tablet? Would a stylus be of benefit? I don't know, Saul. I think on the plus side, for a long time, Apple didn't believe in pens, styluses, so they added a stylus in 2015. For a long time, they didn't believe in touch on their Mac OS, but rumors are they're going to add touch to Mac OS. So, could Apple add a stylus to an iPhone Ultra? Possibly. If there was ever a time to do it, this would be a reasonable time to do it. Yeah. Having said that, is it a benefit? I don't know. To be honest, I think it's a very niche feature, and most people end up losing their styluses. I have a stylus with my S24 Ultra, and I never use it. Like, I only use it to demonstrate that it exists, right? But yeah, Kininya says Apple Pencil Mini incoming. Yeah, that'd be funny. I just feel like they could. I'd love to see them do something like that. I really would, but I don't expect them to. Saul, you may remember did they have a stylus with the Apple Newton? You remember that, Saul? The Newton was way ahead of time. Way ahead of time. Okay, sorry. We're gonna do this test about angle that who wanted me to do it? Was it LumiArt? LumiArt, okay. Tilt. So we're gonna do a tilt test. Let's get here. Let me scribble here for a second, then delete. Okay. So now I'm gonna hold the pen up and down like this, okay? So what people call vertically. Now this might. Let me just do something here. Okay. When I hold it vertically, it's touching a slightly different part of the what do you call it? The ruler, and it's touching the ink. That's where the little marks are. So I have to switch positions on the ruler. Same test, it's just I'm using the smoother part of the ruler. Okay, so this is vertically. I tell you what, I'll do a vertical and then 45 degrees. Vertical and 45 degrees, then we'll see, okay? So let's do this. Oops. That's a vertical. Ignore the little interruption there. So 3 verticals. Hang on. Now I'll do 3 at 45 degrees, okay? Okay, So let's label these so it's totally clear. So these were at 90 degrees, and these were at 45 degrees. Okay, so you tell me, do you believe there's any difference or not? I don't think there is I think they look the same. But I'm curious what you all think. How many jokes about SpongeBob SquarePants already? Nick says. Nick, I don't get it. What's the connection between SpongeBob and... I'm not sure. I've been using my iPad with Magic Keyboard a lot, and I haven't touched my Apple Pencil because it doesn't secure to the iPad Magic Keyboard like it does with my other case. Got it. So, okay. My eyes say with this tablet, the tilt angle doesn't seem to affect. Let's see. Lumiart says, now 45 all of a sudden looks better than the last test. Could have been because I'm in a slightly different area of the tablet, right? And that's one reason I do multiple tests. Maybe I should do more than 3 strokes. Square tab. Oh, I see. What title should I have given it? SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquareTabs. Let me try a more extreme angle. Let's try. That's not bad. Okay. I do these streams for you guys, so if you want me to try something, I'll try something. Okay, let me just position my pen. Okay, there we go. Oops. Right about here, I think. Right. Okay. So this is going to be... I'm going to try to get towards 60, okay? Or 20, whatever angle we want to pick. I'm not seeing a difference, and I'm at an extreme angle. Actually, let me redo this. Maybe I wasn't as extreme at an angle as I thought. Let me try this one more time. I'm gonna try to get a really extreme angle, okay? There's a little catch, a little rough spot in that, in this edge. So you saw me pause because of that little, right up there. I'm gonna tell you honestly, I feel like there's a little bit more. At this was, I'm gonna guess. Actually, let me change how I talk about tilt for a second. Let's say this is 0%, so I tilted by 45, and then I tilted towards like, you know, around 60. Okay? Oops. Right? Approximately 45, and approximately 60, and approximately 0. So the pen is like this here, the pen is like this here, and the pen is like this here. Okay? I want to say there's actually a little more wobble at 60 degrees than 45, right? Or do you think it's the same, Lumia Art? Sometimes it decides to show, yeah. I'm unclear why that is. Let me do one more test. I'll do a quick one. Let me save this. This is actually kind of interesting data. Save as, I'll take at 60 degrees. By the way, I'm going to be asking Claude to help me build a testing app that leads me through this process so I can more regularly do it. One day I want a robotic hand to do it. Okay, so I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to do fast strokes at 60 degree tilt, okay? Fast strokes, 60 degrees. Give me a second. Fast stroke, 60 degrees. Still see it, right? Okay, now I'm going to move it up to 45. So it's kind of the opposite order from last time. And then I'm going to go to vertical, okay? See, at this fast speed, you should not really be seeing any kind of wobble. You see it? Why does this wobble occur? The theory we have is, I think here I did. So let me just label these again. This was 60 degree tilt, approximately. This was approximately 45 degrees, and this was approximately 0 degrees. Okay. I feel like there is actually a little bit of extra wobble at 60 degrees. It's not consistent though. Take a look at this first stroke seems to have less than this one. We don't know why that is. Okay, but all seem to have some of this effect. So I hope that helps answer a little bit of this question, LumiArt. 60 degrees. I'll write the word fast. I do need a robot hand to do this. It's really hard to do this consistently, this test. There we go. That's those hooks at the start, Kenyinya, are more. It's more a function of how I first hit the pen onto the edge of the tablet. Not the tablet. I basically put the pen down like a millimeter away from the edge of the ruler and then slammed in the ruler. That's what's causing that little hook. It's not the traditional hook. It's not this kind of hook where you, sorry, let me do it again. It's not this kind of hook, which is a different sort of thing. I was putting the pen down, I'll just exaggerate for you, and hitting the ruler like that. That's what's causing that hook. Because at the end of the day, I have to contact the ruler in some way. So I just was being sloppy there. Usually when I do this test, I actually erase the first contact point, so it doesn't like make you think there's extra wobble or something, right? Okay, so that was that. Lag was fine. I think I would say this. When I used the Intuos 3 back in the day, it was the best tablet around. It probably was the only tablet around. Today, if Wacom released a tablet like this, I'd be like, I'd give it a funny look because I'd think, okay, you've regressed in your behavior. That being said, at the time this tablet existed, it felt totally fine to draw. So I don't think of this as something I'd be especially concerned about, but it just goes to show you things have improved. Things really have improved. You don't need RoboHand to test pens. You need to test with your hand how it feels. Well, Nick, I think both have to be true, okay? The reason this test I want to take with this hypothetical robot hand is that these tests are humans introduce their own error, right? For example, some people do this test freehand. I'm like, what are you doing? It's because your hand will create wobbles, even if the tablet is perfect. So I like to see people use a ruler, right? We found out with the Apple Pen, so if you use a ruler, it creates the wobble. Weird. When you're drawing slow. But it won't if you're drawing without the ruler. So that's a little bit crazy. But both are needed here. Trust me, both are needed. Okay, I think we're good on the wobble. I do want to talk about, well, this is more about the pen. And I'm just going to, again, just draw with a normal, let me move this mouse out of the way. Hang on. I'm hitting the wrong mouse. It's getting me confused. Okay. I'm going to get to, I just want a different pen here. I guess this one will do. Yeah. Not that. I want a pen with more. Yeah, this one should work. The rough edge is the pen, not the tab or anything. Here, sorry, you weren't seeing. It's very responsive. Like that wobble, honestly. Actually, let me back up. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If you're drawing like this, do you notice the wobble? Okay, so let's watch. Do you see any wobble? Actually, I can. Right here, I see a little. I think that's not me. I think that's the thing itself, right? But most of the time, you'll just never notice it. Here, I see it. You see this? That's not me. I can feel it right there. Will smoothing eliminate it? Well, that's a good question. Let's do some weighted smoothing. And for weighted, I like to... Oh, sorry, you're not seeing... Oh, my mistake. I'm sorry. I picked the wrong screen. Let me do that again so everyone understands what's happening. I was just drawing like this, seeing if I can detect the wobble. In some strokes, I feel like this is slightly not the way I drew. Okay? It's not always present in strokes, but like right here, I don't know if you can see it, but I can. There's a slight deviation. I don't think I did that. Same right about here. But it's very slight. I don't know a normal person would notice it. Okay? Maybe you would. But it's incredibly minute at a normal drawing speed. Like if you're sketching like this, let me give you an example. If you're sketching like this, will you notice the wobble? You might notice there was a slight deflection here, but was that my hand or the pen? Unclear, right? So that's why I'm saying, when you're actually using these, you might not notice any of this. Sometimes these tests can reveal issues because we're testing for them, but a normal person, even me, drawing normally, will never really notice it, right? And this is with weighted smoothing on, by the way. If I turn it off, will I notice it? Probably I saw a little bit of it here, but again, was it my hand or was it the tablet? It's so slight at these speeds, you'd have a hard time explaining it, right? Let's see, Lumia Art says, yeah, this test just highlights it. I'll feel those wobbles while drawing curves up. Yeah, if you're very sensitive to pen, like I said, you may not see it in this test, but I can I can tell my hand did not do that. Does that make sense? Because I can just tell kinetically or kinesthetically, I did not move in that way, right? Because if I did, my pencil drawings would feel the same, and they don't feel that way, or they'd look the same, definitely. Now, if you're drawing with an airbrush, you'll never notice it because it's the edge is not clear like this, or a brush with maybe a rough edge. Okay, Nick said, sorry, Kanina says, the reasons why I revert to vector art if I really care about line accuracy. Painting, I don't notice the wobble, but inking, yes, that's right, Kanina. Like if you're painting with an oil brush, I don't think any of this is, you just would not notice it. Drawing like this, you will never see wobble. You need to draw something slow and precise. That's right. That's where see, this is why I try to tell people, okay, let me back up for a second. I was thinking about this morning. The context was the Asus. Asus had some kind of MPP 3.0 pen, and people noticed some wobble. And I think people were wondering, why is it that companies seem to be how can they possibly produce a pen with more wobble, or they don't improve the wobble? And I've always thought about this, and I think the reason is, well, let me just say it like this. Companies making the pen probably know it does this. I don't think it escapes them that it does this. Like, there's probably a test they conduct which even shows it. Or if they don't, then that's a problem. But I think they do. But the reason they let it slide is they're expecting their pens to be used by people taking notes and doing digital signatures, where this stuff just is not noticed, right? They don't really have people who use pens, so those people never have their feedback taken in, and maybe that's why it seems to never get addressed, which is unfortunate, because if you take care in writing something, and when you take care in writing something or drawing something, you often draw slow, and that's where wobble kicks in. So it's just very, it's like the perfect storm. You're trying to be more careful, but the pen is rewarding you with pain. Lumia Art says, what those wobbles did to me is they just made me believe I had shaky hands for years. You know what's interesting? Obviously, I feel that way, as you do, Lumia Art, but for years I never noticed. It's not until I started testing, my eyes did not notice these effects. Once you notice, you just can't unsee it. It's kind of like when you start getting familiar with typography, suddenly you notice how typography everywhere is just completely messed up. Because you're now sensitized to the issue. And I wasn't sensitized to it before. Once I got sensitized to it, it explained things I saw that I didn't understand. Like when I did see wobble, I used to think, oh, I'm just not drawing well. Or, I'd just be mystified by it. But now I'm like, no, it's not me. It's not me, it's the tablet. Sorry, let me go back. Let me get Kanina first. Though some people incorporate wobble stylistically into their lineup. Yeah, that's right. In fact, sometimes the wobble is actually kind of useful if you want you want to avoid an overly clean style. Maybe it's a technology limitation. Yeah, here's our current theory, Koga, is that the way tablets sense the position of the pen, they have to take measurements, multiple measurements every second, and they sort of estimate where the pen is. And they're very accurate, actually. But as they cross the coils, the wires, certain distortions happen. And they have algorithms to help avoid that distortion. And they've gotten better with those algorithms over the year. And one of the things they do to deal with noise from the signal is they do some smoothing of the data. And that smoothing will create some of this wobble, is what we think. So paradoxically, the thing that is trying to remove noise creates wobble. That's our current theory. So it's partially due to the hardware, partially due to the software or the firmware. Let's see. Depends on style of inking. If you do something detailed and use textured brushes, it is simple. But the simpler your lines get, the more precision you need. Yeah, I agree, Nick. 100% I agree. Or maybe it's just easier to smooth things out with software, so they never bother to fix it. Simple Futurama style is a huge pain to draw. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. It's like these styles that have even just like constant line width. They're trickier to get good looking than you might think. It's not just easy because the lines have constant width. Okay, there's anything else I want to test here? No, I think that, I just want to make some comments here. So first of all, what about the size? Because it is a weird size. Honestly, it feels very natural to use. Like, it is, how big, let's see, hang on a second. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, yeah. It is literally 12 inches by 12 inches. Okay? So that's the name, 12 by 12. When you have a monitor that's about square, like this one's 16 by 18, I thought it would feel weird to draw on it. I thought it would feel really weird to draw on this thing. In fact, it doesn't feel weird at all. In fact, it doesn't really feel like this crazy big tablet. It is thick as hell, don't get me wrong. Now, admittedly, my arms are a little long. I'm 6 feet tall. My arms just a little bit longer than average for someone my height. I don't have like huge, crazy rubbery arms or something, but I can have a further reach for my height than most people. It feels super comfortable to use. I don't feel like I'm having to stretch my arm out to get to the top corner, right? Everything's very convenient. I can basically put my elbow right at the right lower corner and sweep across the entire tablet pretty easily. That's right, it is the PTZ-1230. So this is surprisingly comfortable. And to be honest, I can see why people will like it. Are square monitors very common back in 2004? No, they weren't. In 2004, we had, what I saw was, because the market was in transition from CRTs to LCDs, we saw a lot of 16 by 9s being sold, but what did people at Microsoft have on their desk? They had 4 by 3, okay? As we started getting LCDs, we saw 16 by 9 and 16 by 10. No one had a 1 by 1 monitor. In fact, I'm going to search on the interweb for a second, and let's see if we can find 1 by 1 monitors. See if we can find it right. The only set of people I know that use 1 by 1 monitors today are apparently air traffic controllers, which apparently legally are required to use square monitors. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna take a look at eBay. I don't know if that claim is true, but we're gonna find out. January 2018. This 1 by 1 monitor has changed my life. ISO FlexCan EV. Let's take a look at this thing. I want a life-changing monitor. That wouldn't be bad. Specifications. Oh, it is square. 1920 by 1920. The unique... Yeah, let me zoom it in a little bit for you guys. So it is truly square. Not even this one, which is 16 by 18. I kind of want to get this now. So there is one available. How much is it though? How much is it? Let's see if we can find Amazon. Watch, it'll be like $1,000. No, that's not the right one. Okay, hang on. Let's try eBay. Let's just see what he did on eBay. Speaking of eBay, I'm going to show you something in a second. Look at, no, I'm not spending this much. $1,500 for basically a 27-inch monitor that's 1920 by 1920. No, not doing it. Okay, that's more expensive than I thought. Way more. Hi, Bitterbun, good to see you. Lumia Art. Oh, Lumia Art, I think you're the one who was asking for the playlist, right? I'll take care of that after the stream. Thank you. Let's see. Yeah, it's way more expensive than you'd believe. I thought this was going to be like $500 to $700, but it's like, it's crazy. That's a crazy price. It's a crazy price. It shouldn't be. It's not like I mean, it's not super big. It's not super high resolution. I don't know where they're getting 1,500 for. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it doesn't look square. It looks weirdly tall. I think it's maybe because we're just so used to seeing 16 by 9, actually. But I had the same reaction when I first saw the photo. Googa. Same reaction. Let's see. Kanina says, "Oh, I had a square 19-inch monitor until 2018 when my dog sat on the cable and yanked." Oh, wow. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna verify my claim about the air traffic controllers, because that may or may not be true. Air traffic controller monitor. No, not air traffic controller monitor. What a stupid AI answer. I typed in, notice this, air traffic controller monitor. It says ATC monitor is a high-end British studio loudspeaker. What a stupid reply. Oh, here it is. FAA customized touch panel monitors. I'm not getting the information I want. Air traffic controller monitor 1x1. Oh. Let's try the word display here. This is really not understanding what I'm asking, is it? Okay, let me try asking a different way. What kind of monitors do air traffic controllers use? Okay, this is what the AI overview says. Air traffic controllers use specialized rugged industrial monitors featuring high-resolution square formats, such as 2048 by 2048. Okay, I want one of these. GenStar air traffic control displays. Yeah, I don't want something like this. Kyocera air traffic controller monitor. Okay. I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find someone who just sells a square monitor. Watch, it'll end up being like $5,000 each, I guarantee you. It's talking about the right thing, 2048 by 2048. Custom monitor. Right. Okay, let's see if this does it. It looks like they don't sell these anymore. Okay, I'm gonna have to do more research on this, but I want one. I want a square one. Nick says for 1,500 you can get a pro level 4K display. Yeah, like it's a little crazy. There was another comment. Let's see. Yeah, I'll keep on researching. I mean, maybe we can find something. I've always fantasized about having a square monitor for some strange reason. Okay, so we went to eBay recently, and I have a special surprise to show you. Give me a second. Give me a second. I gotta find it here. Oops, I'm typing in the wrong place here. Okay, great. Okay. How do I show you this? Let me launch Discord where the picture is. I purchased something 2 days ago. It's gonna arrive Friday night. It's something I've always thought about getting because getting it would be, quote, baller. And thanks to Cube, who pointed it out to me that it was on eBay. Let's see if I can find it. Okay. I do want to show you something. Because I'm looking at Discord. Actually, give me a second. I'll show it to you. Stream chat. Maybe it was there. Maybe it was here. Where is it? Hang on. Ah, thank you, Cube. Thank you. Barcode. Oh, this is better. This is that. I think this is that thick one. Okay, we're gonna go and show this because it was. Okay, this is Barco View air traffic control display, 28-inch aviation monitor, basically $900. Let's take a look. I think this is that really thick one. Yeah, it's a thick one. Okay, what do we got for connections here? What? Okay. Not what I'm expecting here. I don't know what these are. Let's see. Power's there. Okay, so using these isn't going to be trivial. It's going to take at least some different cabling. Okay, so those things were... Oh, they use different RGB channels. And another 2 ports for HS and VS. Horizontal sync, V-sync? I don't know, something. I was expecting VGA or something. Or HDMI, not custom stuff. That's interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Let's see. I'm trying to find... So... Where is it? Hang on. It's so hard to find things on Discord for me. And I don't know why. Maybe I can search on Cube server, because I think I posted it there too. Is it just me, or does Discord have like awful search? I can never find what I'm looking for. I just posted it the other day. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay. This will work. Let me bring this over here. Here we go. That's what I ordered. It wasn't even too expensive. Look at this. Wacom Cintiq Pro 32. 32 inches. DTH. H means it has touch. 3220. Price was $1,250. With tax, it came out to 1,000, I don't know, 400 almost, or something like that. So I got the last, I think I got the last one that was available and was out of stock after that. Someone asked me what's wrong with it. And the only thing apparently that's wrong with it, which you'll be able to see in just a second, is there seems to be and this is in the description, so I knew this going into this. There's a slight yellow discoloration on the lower left corner. I think this is due to, and this is common with lots of tablets. I mean, not common, but like it's this is something that occurs with tablets over time sometimes. I think this coloration is not due to like stain, some kind of stain. It's due to something with there are two polarizing films in an LCD, and I think one of the polarizing films is like it can move or something, or maybe damaged by heat, and that's what this is. Not a big deal, not a big deal. But yeah, 32 inches. I am trying, so it'll arrive Friday night, okay? And I am super curious what it's going to be like. Let's see. See you, Kanina. Yeah, we'll be on for quite a while, I think. Video inputs are DVI, analog, RGB, DDM. Yeah. So, I am super excited about this. I have the Cintiq Pro 27, and they basically stopped manufacturing the 32. I've always wanted to see what the 32 would be like, honestly. But I'm gonna tell you, I already know up front. This is a 32, which is big. And look at the bezels. The bezels are probably, I'd estimate, 3 inches thick. So it's not just 32. It's like on top of that, it's like 3 inches. So another 6 inches of distance. So it's going to be, if I put it up here, I'll bet you I could put it up in such a way that it would block this entire camera. Okay? Like I'd probably have to put it down like this. And I have a Intuos 4 XL, which is the last large pen tablet they have. When you get something so big, it's hard to reach the upper corner. Very difficult. So we're going to see if that works. But it's, I have to figure out how to do it. And I'm going to have to set up the camera to, I don't even know if my overhead camera can show you the full device, right? We're going to have to see if that's even possible. I may have to set up a second camera just to show you the full device on this desk. It's not going to be easy. So it's going to arrive, it says like 9 o'clock Friday evening. And I don't know if I'm going to stream that night. I think I'm going to stream probably Saturday because it's going to take a little bit of time to set up the desk. I may do it Friday night. We'll see. But yeah, that is coming. We'll do a live stream of this. Koga says really that this coloration is common on old IPS panels. Yeah, I have seen it, though. I would say not everyone gets it. I have lots of old panels that don't have it. I have one tablet that does, and also the color doesn't be yellow. It can also be kind of purple. You ordered 32-inch and Seizure Gigantomania? Yes, yes. Or Nick. Sorry, I'm going to make a joke here, which is pop culture joke. I got to say this in kind of a serious way. Our age of small tablets is collapsing. There you go. That's my quote from the Odyssey. Our age of small tablets is collapsing. Let's see. Yeah, that's a good point. Is there a stand for this thing? I have a thing I can use as a stand. So that's gonna be another interesting, like. Actually, I should have checked this. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. I think, yeah, like I said, at the very least, I can just lay it on the desk. But if I lay it on the desk, I'm gonna have to reach over like this to get to the top menu item on Windows. It's not gonna be easy. Lumia Art says, is it bigger than the Terry Crews one? It's the same size as what Terry Crews. But remember, Terry Crews is 6'3", and like for him, I guess it'll feel like a 27-inch to him. But for me, it's gonna feel the full size, right? Let's see. My late 2009 iMac has the same yellowing at the corners. It does, okay. Yeah, so this is the thing. I have noticed this yellowing occurs with every brand. I'm sorry, let me clarify. It doesn't occur with every tablet, with every brand, every day. but every brand of tablet or monitor can exhibit it from high end to low end. There's no pattern to that. And again, the current theories are it's either a physical movement of one of the polarizing films and or some kind of delamination of the polarizing films or heat damage of the polarizing films. Why do we think it's the polarizing film? Because of the color shift seems to go either more orange or more purple. And that seems to be an optical effect of the polarizer film, not the not like there's smoke is causing it to get yellow. Okay, and one reason I think it might be delamination is in one of my monitors or pen displays, it has that purple fringe, and if you press down on the next to the screen, like not on the screen, just right next to it, and press that area down, the color will shift and either disappear or shift yellow or something. So in that case, I think it's a delamination problem. When the polarizing film gets disturbed and rotates, it can actually just turn black. Right? All sorts of weird effects can happen that are not even straightforward color shifts. But I think this is just a delamination problem or excessive pressure problem. Let's see. Nick says it is the one. Yes, they had Ergo stand for it. Yeah, I think it's very expensive, and I wouldn't have time to get one. I don't really want one, to be honest. I heard that stand for 32 Cintiq Pro is kind of expensive. It's really, really expensive. Oh, okay. $600. Oh, jeez. Okay. I'm gonna use it on the desk. It's not gonna be comfortable. It's not gonna be fun, but I can at least use it. I will say this. This is my lesson from the 27-inch Cintiq Pro. Actually, let me just say it like this. Let's suppose you had a 13-inch like Surface Pro, so you can write on it, and then you have a 16-inch, then you have a 22-inch. Like you go through all the sizes. Your UI has to work differently because some things you take for granted at a size like this is insane at 27, 32 inches. A great example is, let me just show you the screen here. It'll make sense. Okay, so if you're using a mouse, I'm moving the mouse pointer to the close, the X button right here, okay? When you use a mouse, it doesn't matter how big your monitor is. You can essentially flick your hand and get there. It's trivial. And it doesn't cost you more physical effort to get there, okay? It's just like you flick the button and like the mouse gets there. Doesn't matter what size the screen is. With a pen display, you have to move your hand. And so if you're on a small device, let's say it's this size, you can flick your hand to that corner and you're just there, okay? That just makes sense, right? But if you're on a bigger device, I have to be careful not to touch this. You can't just flick. You have to like move your arm a little bit, okay? And then when you start getting to 20 inches, 22 inches, there's some effort to get there. And at 27, and again, depends on the size of your body even. You may have to reach and like with your back, your lower back to get to that size. So it is not trivial. 32 inches is going to be difficult for me to reach like this. This is actually why the stand is important, because you have to think of my arm out. It's going to look weird when I do this. Okay. It looks really weird for me to do this, okay? I'm reaching out to you. I am not saluting you. I am reaching out to you, and this is uncomfortable to hold my hand out this way. So it's like a flat surface, right? I'm reaching out like this. If you put your tablet at an angle, so not like this, but like this, suddenly your arm is able to hit that radius, right? You see what I'm saying? If you like this, you don't have to go as far back. So that's why the stand is actually useful. Not because it's just a stand. It's actually like, it puts the further end of your tablet within the radius of your arm, okay? Let's see. A couple of comments here. Nick says, I'd go for the flex arm instead. That's just an ergotron arm, right? Looks like Zoot has a stand for it if you did want one, since the Wacom stand would be rather hard to get at this point. I might check out Zoot. Actually, the founder of Zoot actually sent me an email back in the end of 2025, which I totally forgot to reply. I'm sorry, Zoot founder guy. And he said if I wanted to try it, and I have wanted to buy the Zoot, honestly. And maybe this is the reason to do it. Because if anything deserved that Zoot stand, it would be this, right? It's very niche for me. I don't like drawing on 27 inches, but for having a fun stream, I might just do it. I'll stream whether or not I get any stand, assuming it physically works at all. But if I do get the stand, I'll definitely do another stream. Koga says, yes, difference between relative and absolute coordinate. Yeah, with mouse, it's much easier to deal with this because it normalizes the distance. But with a big device, like the world changes. I would even go so far as to say, if you had a very big 32-inch screen like this in front of you, which will feel like a wall in front of you, by the way, you would actually want lots of things to behave differently. You would want menus to be near your hand. You'd probably start desiring for Windows to have the ability, you'd almost want Windows to give you circular menus near your hand, because imagine clicking File, Open, and then any big menu. Actually, let me just show you an example of one. Maybe I can do it with Chrome here. With Gitbook here, right? If you have a long menu here, you have to reach up and then down, and that's a real frustration. Could you set it up similar to the PTK-12? That's actually exactly what I was thinking, Cube. So for those who don't know, actually, give me a second. I'm going to show people what I did, because this tablet is big enough for me to demonstrate that. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with this is a drafting stand or drafting table or something, and let me just show you what's going on here. So it's basically a flat piece of, I guess, wood, and it's 31 inches diagonally. Okay, and I can raise it, lower at different angles. And it came with, I'm not a drafting guy, it came with this thing that would move across. It's like a metal bar. I guess it was to hold a piece of paper down. I removed it because it was useless for me. And so then it just became a flat sheet of white wood. And then you're probably wondering what this red thing is. Well, this thing is smooth. It's very smooth, okay? So I was afraid something would slide off of it. So what I did was I just put I had an old cable, like a Ethernet cable. I actually just cut the cable the right length, and I put it flat here, and I put this some kind of tape, gaffer tape, to secure it. So this just acts like a ledge. Okay, there's a little ledge here. Okay, so I'm gonna. Oh, sorry, it's a little bit awkward. it's actually good we're doing this because it gives me a sense of how big that tablet's going to be. Because basically the tablet's going to be 3 inches, 3-something inches in this direction, both up and down. So it's going to hang off the top even probably by about this much. Okay. Okay, let's see. Where am I? I gotta get, people are laughing at this. Okay, this is very awkward to do, so you have to be patient with me. I gotta move so much stuff around just to make this all happen. But this is really good to try this out now because I'm gonna have to deal with this problem Friday evening. Okay. And for your entertainment, let me show you what's actually happening on my desk. Let's see, let's zoom out. Okay. Okay. So, this is my Mac mouse. This is my... It's hard to... It is weird to do this. Okay. So I'm going to put this on the desk. Okay. So, based on my math, this was enough. This is big enough to probably solidly hold the Cintiq Pro 32. Okay? Now, I'm going to put... Actually, you know what? I'm going to follow Cube's... Because Cube mentioned the PTK-1240. I'm going to get that tablet and put it here. Because that's an even better simulation of what happens, and it will look even more ridiculous. Okay, so let me move this tablet out of the way. Because if I put this tablet here, it's just going to look like this. This looks pretty easy to deal with. By the way, this is quite comfortable, right? Because it's moved the tablet closer to me, so I don't have to reach as far. Okay. Okay. I love this idea, YZ. He says, have you ever thought about selling this? I mean, it's a simple device. I'm ashamed to say I'm not good enough in the construction of metal or wood to create such a device. But I would love to. That would be good something. I wonder if your ledge is too thin to handle this. It might be too thin. We're going to see. We're going to see. I'm also... this Cintiq is going to be very heavy, so I'm very curious how my little ledge is. It's going to survive because it has never had to deal with anything other than like a pen tablet, and small pen displays. Okay, let me move this out of the way. Okay, give me a moment. I'm gonna go get one of my 5 PTK-1240s. 1 second. Okay, I am back, and now I have a Intuos 4XL PTK-1240. Okay, and It's big. It's not. It's very big. Okay. Again, this is I have 5 of these. Okay. So you can see how much it covers. Okay. By the way, I just want to say up front, this one's it's really in pristine condition. By the way, I got this on eBay. I don't even think it cost that much. I can find out the exact price. But if you're having trouble finding them on eBay, it's because I bought them all. I don't know why I wanted 5. I think I felt like, I don't know, the earth was running out of them. I wanted to corner the market. Okay. Oh, Cube is scaring me here. Cintiq Pro is a whole 9 inches wider and 2 inches taller than the PTK-1240, by the way. Nearly twice as thick. Oh my God. This is thick, and this is like an inch and something. So this is going to be a wild experience. Okay. Man, it's been a long time since I used this tablet this way. This is actually really interesting. Yes, it's the one with the little displays. Hey, Cube, Cube has done something interesting with the displays of these things. So maybe can you send a link to that little video where you show, something happening with the display? Okay, let's plug this thing in. This will actually be a good test, just to see if that. I think OTD supports this tablet. I think it does. I've lost my mouse. Oh, there it is. Okay. Well, this is wild. Let's see what did OTD say. Oh, it does recognize it. Okay. And let's get the mapping straightened out. The mapping. I'm mapping this monitor to a 13-inch display in front of me. Okay, the moving 13. So that's a little strange, to say the least. Okay. And where's my water? Oops, I didn't do the mapping correctly. Or did I? Interesting. Let's try this again. Oh, sorry. The thing is so big. This device is so big. I need to have. Okay, it is actually working. So let me show you what's going on because it's not obvious to you. I've got this tablet mapped to this display, okay? So doing this is weird, okay? Like moving the mouse or the pointer around is, and also this is a tablet. So this tablet, the big one's interfering with that tablet, okay? They're both getting confused about what's happening. But you see how strange it is. So it works. Now, what I was trying to tell you is, let's see, let's go back to Cube's comment. This thing is, someone made it display their Twitch stream. Oh my God, that's actually clever. Yeah, and so you're not seeing any displays here right now because I think OTD does not incorporate that. But with the normal Wacom driver, this tells you what the buttons are configured to. And what Cube discovered is you can send commands to these screens, right? And he's got a little animation going. Now, the truth is, I love this tablet. I drew with this tablet for I think about a year or a year and a half, something like that. But you have to dedicate space for this. There's no way this is going to work for real unless you commit to your desk, okay? Even, this tablet's not per se heavy, but even moving out of the way is not trivial because, let me give you an example. If you have this iPad, I'm going to be careful here, and you want to get it out of the way, what do? You pick it with one hand, you just move it anywhere. There's almost always space on your desk or, I have it on a USB hub. I can just put it anywhere. But this thing you can't do that with because you need just as much space as the tablet, obviously. So you know, you have to like move it to another desk or on the floor. It is not trivial. And you can't use it. It's really awkward to lift with one hand. You can't do that. You have to use both hands to do it. So you got to commit to it. And in fact, it's so big that when I was drawing with this originally, I don't have something right now to demonstrate exactly. You have to imagine this. Can I get this lower, actually? I don't think it gets any lower. I would actually just put my mouse and keyboard, just like I said before, I would just put it right on top, okay? And I'd actually like have my lunch on top of this tablet as if it was a serving tray, because it's hard to get out of the way, right? I was careful not to get any crumbs into the tablet, because this one is especially very clean and well taken care of. But you get the idea. Okay, let's take a look at some of the chat here. 32 inches, not super heavy, same as any other 30 pounds. The original Ergosten is very heavy, Nick says. So, if I'm taking into account Cube's information here, Cintiq Pro is 9 inches wider, which means like, I'm gonna guess, actually I do have a ruler somewhere here, don't I? Oh, here it is. This is 8 inches, okay? So that's 1 more inch to the right, okay? So let's just do a little bit of math. I'm gonna put my hand at 4.5 inches. So it's gonna be 4.5 over here and 4.5 over here. Okay, that's probably tolerable. And it's 2 inches taller. Okay, that's not bad. I thought it was gonna feel weirder if it was gonna be 9 inches this way, but 2 inches, I'm putting my thumb right where 2 inches, just so below my thumb, that's tolerable. Most of the mass is gonna be on this, right? It's gonna work, it's gonna work. So this is gonna be my plan. Now, the challenge also is that it is incredibly hard to reach anything. And remember, I have 2 keyboards. This one's for my the Mac, that's what's streaming to you. And then somewhere else is the keyboard for my, you just see it right there, right? That's for the actual computer I'm doing the demo with. This is why the TourBox was really useful for me, because the TourBox let me keep my hand right here and right here basically, and I didn't have to touch my keyboard as much. Only when I need to like have a file name or something. That's why you got to commit to this. You got to have the desk space. This desk is also like pretty deep. It's deeper than a normal desk. It's like 32, 33 inches deep versus a normal 28-inch desk. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend people try this, but this is a fantastic tablet, and I love drawing with it. But yeah, this is my plan for Friday. Again, I don't know if I'm going to stream Friday because I think I need some time to set things up and verify everything's working before I say, okay, I'm actually going to do the stream, right? So we'll see how that works. And another thing I'm realizing here is how, and this is just a facet of how this works. Because this is now raised up, I can't see I'm going to put my hand to where I can't see the moving. So right below where my finger is, I can't see below that. So I can't see anything where my finger is right here, where I'm pointing. Like, this is all hidden from my view. Everything is hidden. So again, it messes up. I can't even see, let's say, this part of the screen that you can see. So it really just alters the drawing environment. But if you have the space, it's wonderful. You definitely feel like you are forced to draw when you're in front of something like this. Like there's nothing else you can do with it. It's not like you can be writing code this way. Okay, let's see. Which TourBox do you have? Do you own as many TourBoxes as you do tablets? No, I have 131 tablets. I have 5 TourBoxes. That includes a TourBox Mini and a TourBox Neo, and it's actually, I have 2 TourBox Neos and 2 TourBox after the Neo, but not the latest one. And why I have 2 of those is because I had I was using a TurboBox at home and then at work. So I had kind of like a paired desktop. So that's why I have two. And then I upgraded one, so I had two more. Let's see, I just never moved my tablet, so a good tablet also got to work as tray for food. That's the reality. Oh, Saul, good question. What Mac do you use for streaming? I use an so it's an M1 Max Mac Studio with 64 gigabytes of RAM and I think a 1 terabyte SSD. Looking back, honestly, I should have gone all the way and gotten 128 gigabytes of RAM. I will say this, performance-wise, this thing has just kept up. I got this in 2022. And I didn't use it for a while, but it's perfect for streaming because there's just so many ports and it is quiet, okay? So actually, I'm gonna shift my streaming to, I'll still use it for streaming, but instead of like really using it a lot while I'm streaming, like browsing the web and showing you things, I'm gonna have it primarily just be showing you what's on the screen of my other computer, which is a Windows machine. It just makes it much easier because then I can reboot this Windows computer without affecting the stream, etc., etc. So yeah, everything you see or hear is coming through the Mac. It's handling all the video. Basically, it's acting like a big streaming box. That's its only purpose here. It's not doing anything else. Koga says, yeah, the Elite is the Elite. Right. What's the newest one called? Which I forget. Food. No good tablet lives on an ergo arm and gets vertical as second display when not needed. I've never liked tablets on a arm, honestly. They just never feel stable for me, so I keep them on a stand that's, flat on the desk. No, sorry, I don't keep them flat on the desk. I keep them on a stand which is securely placed on the desk. 7 pens and 2 keyboards. That is indeed correct. That's indeed correct. If you ever get a chance, definitely try something like this out, or even just a large one. Oh, let me just show you an example of how big this is compared to a large tablet. So give me 1 second. Because it's good you know the difference. 1 second. Okay. This tiny little thing is the Intuos Pro Large 2025. Okay? Now, because of the perspective, it seems pretty big, but let's lower it on top of this. Okay? So if I match sort of the lower, where the active area actually is, the active area ends right about here, right? So this is a really huge active area. It's bigger than the body of the Intuos Pro Large 2025, okay? So huge difference in active area. The active area ends, it's about here of the large. So you can see how much bigger this is. I think I did the math and this active area is the size of, roughly speaking, it's twice the size of this and it's 4 times the size of the Intuos Pro Medium 2017, and it's 9 times the size of Intuos Pro Small. That's how much active area that's going on here. Let's see. The Elite Plus, thank you, Koga. Let's see, it's a very professional streaming. Thank you. Slowly, everything is getting set up easier and easier to make it, just quicker for me to deal with the streams. I noticed 7 pens even set up shortcuts for switching between scenes. That's a huge thing. Why? Because you see there are 2 keyboards. It's so confusing to my brain which one I'm typing on. So if I'm going to have 2 keyboards, I prefer to just not use one of them. That's the Mac one. I keep it over here. And this, the iPad lets me switch streams without having to dealing with the keyboard. I kind of wish I could type comments in the iPad and have them go to the screen, that you could see it in chat. Yeah, Koga, this is the Intuos Pro Large. That's what this is. I'm holding in my hand here. So it's not the medium. This is the large. Okay. So you just gotta understand like how crazy this size is, and the large is hard to deal with. Like even the large is so big, you'll have to figure out where to put your keyboard because it's hard to put your keyboard above it because you have to reach so far. So imagine dealing with this monster, right? Like the bezels for this are almost half the size of the Intuos Pro. Wait, even made transitions for the music between. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Lumia Art says a true artist never puts the tablet away. Well, when I'm busy drawing, that's how I do it. I just leave it there, and that's why I think I always tell you guys, I have 1, 2, 3, technically 4 desks in my house. One is kind of just in storage, but the other 3 are active. There's my streaming desk. There's my normal where I'm sitting, coding, watching internet desk. And then there's another desk where I'm theoretically testing things. Or sometimes I'm streaming. And that third desk I sometimes reserve as the art desk. Like when there's equipment like this that's big and you don't want to move a million wires around, it's good to have a dedicated space for that. Oh, the Elite Plus supports the iPad. Right. Yeah. So Cube mentioned something which a lot of you may not know. Let me get my face here. This is not close to the biggest tablet Wacom has ever made. Now, I forgot the model number that one, but it's more like a huge whiteboard. Like I'd have to step very far away to show it to you, right? And we actually thought about buying it, but the seller in Japan was being difficult in shipping it. SD-1230. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's show that picture because once you see it, you'll understand. It's kind of a wild tablet. Let's see if I can get there. Oops, where'd my mouse go? There it is. Let's see. Live stream chat. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Cube. This is gonna help. Yeah, this will give people the right idea here. Okay. So it might be a little confusing. So just all I gotta show you is if you see something that's basically white or cream colored, that's not the background. That's the other tablet. Okay. So watch this. Okay, there you go. That's the Intuos Pro Large. That's the tablet I'm in front of right now. This thing on the upper left, okay? Everything else on the screen is the other tablet. Okay? So this tablet is bigger, it's wider than my desk, and I have 2 desks in front of me. It's also deeper than these 2 desks. Okay? It is not a normal tablet. Now, my understanding is that this tablet is... how can I explain this? Okay, let's back up. Let's talk a little bit of history. Actually, let me take a drink of water. Thank you for that picture, Cube. So, this is complicated. When Wacom started, there were a class of things that we could call drawing tablets. But they weren't drawing tablets like you and I think about them. They were meant for CAD, computer-aided design, okay? And they're called digitizers because they digitize things. And what people would do, essentially, and they did all sorts of things, but they would have big drawings on paper, like huge, and they would go on and lay them all in these digitizers, that they were huge. And they would click with a kind of a puck device, and it would digitize the points because they're trying to make a 3D model of something that somebody drafted, okay? So that's what people were doing with tablets. And then Wacom came around And so you understand the tablet industry was not artistic. It was about CAD. And then Wacom came around, and I'm leaving this little story out. We'll get to that in a second. Wacom came around, and so they're entering this industry of tablets also. So their initial tablets are more about CAD. You wouldn't really be drawing with them you could theoretically, I guess, but they weren't intended for that, and you wouldn't have had fun. It wouldn't have been a great experience. Okay? So they had a different technology, which is EMR, for doing this stuff. And they kind of, I think, just did okay or something, but they were growing. And then sometime in the early 90s, as I recall, it could have been late 80s, a certain media company that, I don't want to say its name, but let's say its name is Disney, and they make animated films. This company named Bisme. And Bisme somehow found out about the EMR technology Wacom had, and they realized, oh, that thing has pressure sensitivity. And maybe they knew about Tilted then, I don't know. But they said, oh, for our an upcoming Disney film called, I gotta find a name for this, Foodie and the Feast. They said, let's use your technology. And so they use Wacom. So that's how Wacom started getting big, because Disney started using Wacom for Foodie and the Feast, a movie which was, I think, the first use of computers really in an animated film. In an animated film by Disney, at least. Though I think there were some other films that used digital stuff. It was the first one to use a tablet, and then companies started just using. That's what got Wacom apparently really popular. Okay, so the tablet Cube was talking about is from that digitizer CAD era, and it's more of a curiosity to get one. It's not something, again, that you'd ever want to use. And at Microsoft, we had these really large screens called not Surface Studio. Actually, I don't remember what they were called. But they were basically like a Surface Pro, but scaled up to be, the size of a chalkboard, like this thing. And it's not fun to use those either, even though they have pressure sensitivity. And it's not fun for a lot of reasons. So, a perfect example. Have you ever tried have you ever painted a wall or drawn? Your hand has to be up all the time. That ain't fun. Okay, it's not fun. It's another thing is, you know how you have a monitor in front of you and it's 4K and you're really happy? Well, that's really great, but when the monitor is 100 inches diagonal, 4K is it feels like big pixels. You can see big pixels at 100 diagonal. It's not, if you're up next to it, you just see all the pixels. It's not this really super tiny, retina type experience from an iPad. So that can feel weird to people. And then going back to a previous comment I made, when you're in the middle of this 100-inch screen, think about what it feels like to hit the file menu, right? Let me show you on this screen here. I said, oops, I don't know why it went up like that. That's funny. Okay, this is almost there. Let's see, there's some good comments from Cube. The Wacom lens cursor mouse might make it a bit more sense with how the digitizing worked. Yes. And this would have been before there was scanning technology advanced enough to make this possible. Obsolete, sorry. The SD series tablets are actually not too bad. If you see the spec sheet, it seems a bit scary with 64 pressure levels, but it's totally usable and better than tablets from some brands still. One day I'll actually try that SD tablet for real. I think it's a serial port thing, so I need to use your serial port driver. And I'm definitely very curious about what it'd be like, 64 pressure levels and everything. And tell me, clarify for me, Cube. I think the SD, I think it was the 501, 510C, whichever one. I thought that it had the one with pressure sensitivity, but the SD-013A didn't support the pen with pressure sensitivity. But I may be misunderstanding differences. Okay, what I was saying was, this tablet is big. Some people, honestly, will have problems reaching the file menu, which is right about here, or the close window X icon, which is here. They will have problems because their arms are a little shorter than mine. When you're sitting in front of 110, or standing in front of a 110-inch display, what do you think it feels like to go to this part on the screen? You have to put your hand up and do this, and that ain't fun either. Like you may not even, if you're a short person, you may not even be able to do that. And it's a real stretch. It's not, it's not fun. And like, imagine having to go to that menu over and over to like do something. You wouldn't want UI no UI works well that way. You have to have one that's optimized for like where you're at. You need like a local, circular menu around where you're standing and where the pen is. And I think they add UI like that. But I just want to tell you, it feels weird to use big tablets. It's very weird, even if they're modern with pressure sensitivity. The first time I used it, I thought, oh wow, this is gonna be great. I know Wacom, I know how to draw. It was awful. I hated using it. Let's see. All the SD series tablets should support the pens, but the only ones I personally tested are the SD510C and the SD422A. Got it. Thank you. Okay, so I think the prep here is ready for Friday. I think I know how to tear this down and build it back up. I'm gonna do a little more arrangement of the screen to make it all make sense. But yeah, that's gonna happen. I'm gonna set it up Friday. If I make progress, I will actually stream on Friday. But more likely I'll do it Saturday, just because I think I'm gonna have to rearrange physically what's on this desk to deal with the situation. And Cube, let me just double check. I do not believe Open Tablet Driver supports that, right? Yet? I think we were talking about that earlier. So I'll probably switch for that stream to a Wacom driver, though I think I said earlier I'm researching how to create a configuration, though I'm not really sure if I understood the instructions that were on the OTD documentation site. Let's see. Cube says the mice compatibility is mentioned to be split by model, but I'm not sure if that's Wacom spec sheets listing which ones come in the box recommended, or if it, oh, I see, got it. Yeah, like when I saw the SD510C, like it had checkboxes on the box about which ones were compatible. I wasn't sure how to interpret that. Like exactly what you said. Is it like it's describing what's in the box or what's compatible with it? Yeah, it just was not clear to me. Okay, so I think we're good here. I'm going to move forward into the next phase of this stream, and maybe Kinina will join us a bit later. And the next phase is, give me a second. I have to get. There's so much in front of me. It's getting confusing. The next phase is. Look, what other news there is basically what I'm trying to get at. Oh, show notes. Seven pens config creation stream with no extra help to see how good our docs are. I'm happy to do it. If I can always provide feedback for something, then I will absolutely take that time to do it. Okay. So, give me a second. I'm gonna have to move this out of the way because this is crazy. It's so big, this being on my desk, that it's like, it's interfering with my ability to reach objects. Okay, so give me a second. I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. I got it out of the way. Now let's take a look at what we... Oh, it's so much more space now. What a relief. Okay, let's get my stream notes, my show notes. And then we'll go over the key news items of the day. There are a few things I want to talk about. Let's see. Give me 1 second. There's stuff missing here. I don't know why. Okay, yeah. Here we go. Okay. So the first update we have is actually, let me back up. It's something that appeared on Reddit I wanted to talk about. And this is just a funny curiosity. I brought this up before, but it's just a weird thing that I wanted people to see. Yeah. Give me 1 second, we'll get there. I always like to bring up like these best of Reddit posts because they're just fun to see what's going on, right? Okay, here we go. Okay. So, oops, this is what we got. Okay, so someone posted this really amazing picture. And this is in r/electronics. Just one more thing, I'm not like an electronics expert, so if I say something odd, I apologize. Please correct me. So it says, insides of drawing tablet looks strange. And of course, I immediately freaked out when I saw this. What are we looking at? So there is a PCB here, printed circuit board, but there's also this cloth PCB for the digitizer. Cloth digitizer, I should say. It's not a cloth PCB. And there's some more screenshots of this, or pictures, I should say. You can see the wires on the other side. And I actually commented on this and I was saying, hey, this is extremely unusual. Like, this is not common. I didn't want people to think like this is what's really in drawing tablets. You know, I made a point saying, hey, I'm the mod of our drawing tablet. I have a lot of tablets. This is just extremely uncommon. And I showed a picture on Wikipedia of the digitizer in a Wacom tablet. I'll open it up here so everyone can see, right? So I said, this is what they look like. This is very typical. And I further commented that in the drawing tablet community, we saw, thanks to Tablet Kitten, I think it was a 10 Moons tablet, a cloth digitizer. And I was shocked. I think we were all shocked. I don't think anyone expected to ever see something like that. As far as I knew, and this is what I said in the comment, only 10 Moons had such a digitizer. We've never heard of one in like Huion, XP Pen, UG, Gaomon. And I did mention that sometimes the same digitizer is branded as another plastic shell as another tablet, which looks to be the case in this instance. And I also said like this is not a very modern design, but yeah, this happens. And this is a Chinese brand. I think 10 Moons is the ultimate source of this. What's surprising is I think Tablet Kitten has this and was surprised how well it worked, which I would not have guessed would have worked at all, or worked with enough precision. But I think when Tablet Kitten opened up the tablet and saw this, it was kind of a surprise. So I just want to show that's a curious discovery. And then the second curious discovery we have is this thing. Another Reddit discovery. So look at this. We see a tablet with some weird trail markings. And the OP did a couple of other photos here. Lines that are continuous but seem to wobble slightly, kind of in a weird way. And they're all over the screen. Very peculiar looking trails. Doesn't look like a human drawing. Our current theory is it's bugs. Bugs got in. Now, why they leave a trail? Maybe they leave some kind of bug slime. I don't know. But that's what many people believe here in the thread, that it's actually bugs. How they get in there, we don't know. Why they leave the trail, we don't know. Like what's in there that leaves the trail, we have no clue. We have no clue. Let's see. More like surprise it works at all. It barely works, and it certainly doesn't have enough percent. Okay, so maybe I misinterpret what Tablet Kitten said. Maybe it doesn't work nearly as well as I thought it did. I just want to show that if you ever see this, if you ever see this and you discover bugs in your tablet, let us know. We're trying to sort out what actually happens. I cannot explain how a bug got in or what leaves the trail. Like, it's just weird. Because I think this is a laminated screen and there shouldn't be any gap for a little critter to get inside. So that's what's really confusing about this. Okay, another thing I wanted to just talk about. Maybe we'll watch a little bit of this. It's a video I saw. Let us... Haha, nice, Euchre. That's a good reference. I like it. Bugs in your tablet? It's more likely than you think. It might be true. I've seen some horrific examples. But, this is probably the second time I've seen these trails. It does look like hair a little bit. It does. One of the questions people ask is, do you have kids? They thought with a kid drawing, but like, no, it doesn't have kids. So that wasn't the reason. Okay, this was a video which I can't remember if I did watch it, but I'm not sure it's worth watching the entire thing. But I'm going to paste it in chat because it is actually worth probably... where's the chat here? There we go. I think it's worth considering what is going on here. But I'll try to summarize it. And I had thought about this. It's something historical which still remains true. And this is video actually is... Okay, let's make sure it actually plays first.
It's an app you know even if you've never used it. 40 years later, its influence is still everywhere.
Okay, is it playing? It is... Hang on, I'm gonna make sure it's actually playing. Give me a moment.
Mac Paint didn't just...
Yeah, it is. Okay, so this video is entitled, Mac Paint Changed Everything, right? Now, the original title of this video was even more intriguing, but they changed it, which I'll tell you why. It said, it was called, I have in the notes here, it was called Why Every Drawing App Still Looks Like Mac Paint. I thought it was a better title. Because what you're going to see is this app is like many decades old, and yet a lot of our apps look just very similar. So I'm going to just open this up here, and we're going to take a quick look at it.
Set the bar for digital paint programs. It taught you to click, drag, copy, and paste. And somehow it managed to do all of this with 128 kilobytes. So
since it's playing music, which will cause YouTube to freak, I just want to go forward and just show you a little few things here. So he goes through the history of some systems that are much earlier than we know, like 1973. But what you'll notice, curiously, is... And I actually did use Mac Paint in this era, by the way.
But what happens
when... Oh, stop playing. I think you should watch this video, but I just want to show you. So this is, I guess, the color version. It is funny, actually, that so many apps still maintain this look. Like this look of having a palette of tools. And tools was a big point of this video, which is... it was hard in that apps in that era went through modes, like they switched what the overall app was doing. And the way Mac Paint dealt with this, which is they invented like, oh, the metaphor we're going to use is you pick a tool and that explains to you why the app is doing what it's doing. Because if you didn't do that, you'd have to do things like, oh, what mode you're in. So it might seem like a slight thing, like, oh, we're going to show an icon and call it a tool instead of calling it a mode. But this just made much more sense for people. And it is funny that if you look at this today, you would intuitively know what's going on. And this app is, this is like 1986, right? So we're talking about a 40-year-old app, but you intuitively you might even intuitively sense that this thing on the lower left is actually a zoom. I think it's a zoom thing, right? Obviously, you know this is a palette, and this is the color version. But where's the black and white version? I want to show a close-up of it. It's good history, though it doesn't live up to its title in the sense of it doesn't tell you why this quote changed everything. Actually, sorry, let me back that up. The new title is better than the old title, because even though the old title is intriguing, it didn't really explain to you why all apps look just like Mac Paint, right? But you can see it right here, like that same, there's line thickness. Oh, it wasn't zoom, it was line thickness. It's surprising these apps actually have retained this look, right? So I was curious by that because it's a legacy. What else I want to show you? There was one other thing. Oh yeah, so remember that in Reddit, there's a picture of the digitizer? Well, someone linked to a book called Open Circuits, which I actually just bought on Amazon. It's gonna come, I think, tomorrow. Open Circuits book. I'm gonna try to find a picture of this. And I'll actually stream it, what this thing is. But it's opencircuit.book, and let's bring it over here. It's called The Inner Beauty of Electronic Components. And I don't have a background in electronics, by the way. But it's basically, it does a bunch of like close-ups and cutaways of electronics. Like I think we saw a capacitor there or something. So I'm really curious. Here's some of the photos in it. And this actually looks, I don't know why, this looks beautiful. I think this is an HDMI cable, what I'm trying to zoom into right now. Let's give it a second. Okay, it's not loading. Let me try navigating away, coming back to it. Okay, it's just stuck. Well, that over here is the HDMI cable. Frankly, it looks really beautiful. I don't know why, it's just like artistically interesting. So it's a book filled with these diagrams, right? Of things, you can see this one's like one that's cut through the middle. So I'm very curious. Maybe it'll get me more interested in taking on an electronics project. And it's got really good recommendations as well. And then finally, the most interesting thing that's happening is Clip Studio has an update. And in fact, I'm going to update live. Clip Studio. Do I have Clip Studio installed on this machine? I may not. Let's take a look. Okay, I'm going to... What should I do here? I'm scared. Okay, I'm going to deactivate and launch. Yeah. Clip Studio license management odd. Let me just start the install process and then we'll take a look at this. Okay, it looks like it's updating. So while that's updating, let's take a look at what Clip Studio added. There's a video, so we'll take a look at that. Let me close clip, and let's see if I can find it. We'll just watch the full video. Clip Studio Paint. We're looking for the up video. Yeah, no, that's not it. Where is it? Sorry, I'm trying to find the exact link to the actual update. Okay, I think we'll go through their doc here. So I'm installing it. This is the July 2026 update, and let's show it to you. What's new? So new style setting for watercolor edges. Let's take a look at this one. And let me turn off my music so it's not irritating to you. Sound effects, mute. Okay. So new style setting for watercolor edges. So went from style from standard on the left to vivid. I like that. The edges look better. I mean, I think you still would like the standard in some cases, but I do like the new edges. They're less intense. I don't want to say they're necessarily more natural. Both have their place, but I do like this new vivid look. Maybe I don't like the old ones because they always tend to go too dark. That's nice. That's a really good update if you like watercolor. Clear edges with high contrast. Let's see. 3 new filters. Okay, this should be interesting. Doesn't look like there's any music, so I'll just play it. Okay. Let me make this big. This is actually a little confusing when they show it like this. They're going too fast. There's a glow filter. Okay. That could be useful for me. Inflate. Looks gimmicky, but I can see why some people might like it. Drop shadow. That's useful. That is actually useful. They do have a kind of drop shadow on their layer effects, so I'm not totally sure why they needed this. Maybe they offer more smoothing in the drop shadows. Let's see. Improved smart shape. Let's just watch. And there is no video, sorry, no audio in the original video. So it's not like I've turned it down or something. They're just, nothing's in the video. I like that, you'll be able to edit the shape. That was way too quick. That was way too quick how they did that. So they drew something. Let me turn down the speed of this thing to like 1/3. Yeah, okay. So enable correct current stroke. That's a useful feature. I tend to get that initial stroke wrong. Okay, so they click and they go smart shape, convert. Oh, okay. So if you draw something like you want a circle, but it's not quite there, you can force it into that shape. Hold at end of stroke to correct shapes. Okay, these are all useful updates. I haven't used smart shapes often, but I think now I'll try them a bit more. Let's see. Add lab color space to color slider. Oh, I see. So it'll keep sort of like the intensity of the color, even if you change the hue. That's good. That's useful. Their videos are too short though. This is like an 8-second video. Oops, I closed the window. Let's see. What's the next feature? Replace or hide the head of 3D figures. Let's see this one. This one makes more sense. So you drag in another head and it'll replace the head of the current one. Makes sense. I don't use 3D features, so it doesn't impact me, but I know a lot of people do use that. Paint on 3D characters. Okay, this should be interesting. These videos are way too short. Oh, I see they're painting on it. Okay, useful. Improved, oh, this is a good one. Improved 3D camera features. By the time I drag it over, the video's over. So I'm gonna restart it. So you can, oh, this is the shadow is now coming, how do I say it? From the view of the camera, as opposed to rotating with the object. So the shadow is always coming away from you. Okay, useful. There's some searching and sorting things for materials. Let's see. Saul says, I've downloaded 3D software dealing with human anatomy. Yeah, you could. I don't like YouTube autoplay. Often, and it's not just because it's playing the video. I just hate the sudden noise that happens, right? Dealing with. Okay. It isn't helping that the videos are like 8 seconds long. So by the time I get it up here, it's like, and there's no narration to it. I'm not even understanding what this does here. Let's try this again. It's called Reflect Opacity on Border Effects. Okay, I think at the end it makes border effects and rotation work better, but let's take a look here. The before is bad, and the after is better, and there's no doubt about that. They need to slow these videos down. It is crazy. Improved mesh transformation. Okay, I'm not sure what got better here, so let's take a look here. They selected these things there and these here, but what was actually the difference? I'm not sure. Let's take a look at this again. This is a weird one. Okay, so they're the same exact meshes and the points are in the same exact place, but as they shrunk them, first they selected, then as they shrunk them, oh, I see. Okay, it's a little hard to explain. So take a look at the angle formed by the points they selected. Let's just say it's 30 degrees in both cases. So when they resize, you'd expect them to retain that angle. But in the before case, the angle actually effectively rotates from like 30 degrees to 45. But in the after case, the angle actually is preserved. So, okay. Yeah, I can see why that is better. I think I can absolutely see why. This is an improvement. Probably just a bit subtle to go through the video like this, but I like this one. Because what you'd expect, you wouldn't expect that transformation to do that. Because the transformation is a affine transform, as they say. It's supposed to preserve the relation between all points in that space. I'm not a math guy, so I hope I got that explanation of affine correctly. The next item is just some preset thing. They said they have some improved performance improvements for Android. We'll see if there's any difference here, if they can explain that. So let's watch. Oops. Before. Wait, I don't even understand what happened there. I am baffled by what they're trying to say. Before, the tip is here, and now we see this red line. Okay. Okay, the red line got drawn faster, but my confusion is this. The tip isn't where the red line is. So that's, my eyes went to the tip of the pen. So it almost looks like they're demonstrating a bug, but let's watch it again. That line is slower to draw. This one's faster. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, were they drawing with their, like, the tip of their finger on it or something? It's baffling. It looks like it looks like a bug, right? It looks like there's actually a bug. Like, it has not correctly detected where the pen is. It is so strange. It's just, it is, I don't even know what to make of that. And that line doesn't follow anything in the blue section, right? Like, it's this sort of very straight line, but it's not related to. In other words, why do they draw that line? Like, it's a confusing video. The performance improvement is there. It's just like, why show this line? Because it makes it look like there's a bug. I'm too picky. I'm just too picky. Let's take a look. They have now just a list of things. Yeah, the real flaws. That's right. It looks like palm rejection isn't working. It does. It's like. I mean, look. Sometimes things are confusing, and maybe everything's going exactly correct, and we're not interpreting what's going on correctly. But it doesn't seem that way. Okay, so that was all their videos. I think that's it. Which version are we talking about here? This is which version? 5.1.0. Okay, the previous version was. Oh no, this is 5.1.0. Let's just take a look at what they got here. 1 second. I'm gonna make it a bit easier for me to read here. Okay. Style has been added to watercolor edge. Okay. So this is all grades, meaning all versions get this. We covered most of these. Nothing really pops out besides the ones we already watched. I mean, it's good. There's lots of improvement. I'm definitely skipping over things that are going to help some people. And there's a lot of them, so that's good. Lots of export improvements, it looks like. Some materials improvements on EX and Pro. Mesh transformation, you can change the number of points. Okay. I mean, these are useful improvements. I'm happy with this. So very good. Okay, I think we covered all the updates that I wanted to cover. And we've been going now for 3 hours. So, unfortunately, I think Kanina is still out, but I think I'm going to end the stream now. And I have to get back and make another video on another topic. Gonna make a video doing an introduction to Open Tablet Artist. Actually, let me quickly do it now. Just run it through with you so that you see, and I'll get any early feedback from you. How's that? Because I think I need to show you a little bit of what's going on here. So let's go back home. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I will show you. I'm going to run through my video. I just want your feedback, actually. And give me a second. I have to get my Google Docs. I have a script. Oh, sorry. I have a presentation as well. So let's get that going. OTA introduction. Okay. So, how do I want to do this with you? I think I will. Give me a second. I'm going to figure it out. Okay. So, yeah, I'm just going to do a dry run of the video I'm going to record in a minute in case anyone has any feedback they'd like to give me. So, this is, and let me change what I see on my, no, I'll keep it like this. Okay. So, this is an introduction to Open Tablet Artist, an alternative artist-focused user experience for Open Tablet Driver. And to clarify, OTA, Open Tablet Artist, talks to, what is it, the relationship it has to Open Tablet Driver? And the first key thing is it's an alternative user experience. And what that means is Open Tablet Driver, the real driver part of it is the daemon. And it has a UI that talks to that daemon. Open Tablet Artist is just another UI that talks to the same daemon. You could, in fact, use both at the same time, okay? So Open Tablet Driver is not a driver, okay? And oops, 1 second. Yeah. Now, before I go further, I know this is always a cause of some controversies, so I'll just get it out of the way now. So, the entire project, it is completely vibe coded with Claude and Cursor. There's just, that is how. Actually, wait a second. This is not the right presentation. Yeah. So, hold on. Wait a sec. Is it? No, this is not the right presentation. Sorry. This is an older presentation. Give me a minute. Okay, this is what happens. I knew something was off. I'm like, this seemed like an out of order slide. Let's see if I can find it though. So just give me a minute. Da-da-da. I have so many places I put things. Sometimes I get a little lost on what's going on. And let me check, in fact, that. That's not the right one. Sorry, it's gonna take a second. When I switch machines, sometimes it gets a little confusing where things are that I left. Okay, give me a second. I'll be right back. I'll find it and come right back so that things are not as confusing. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to just plug in one more thing to power here so it doesn't lose power. There we go. My iPad's about to come out here and run out of power. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I think I figured out where it is. It's on Synology Drive. Blog work, OTA. It's still not in the right place. Okay, hang on. What in the world is going on here? I think something is not synced or something, so I'm gonna have to straighten this out. Okay. Okay. By this time, I should have sorted out the weirdness. I did. The problem was I forgot to click save on the other computer, so this couldn't see it. Okay. Ah, there we go. Simple thing. I forgot to click save. Okay, now we're good. And let's go. Okay, here we go. So OpenTablet Artist is an alternative user experience for OpenTablet Driver. And we have to clarify, for those of you who don't know what OpenTablet Driver is, it's an open source driver, and the things you should notice about it is that it's cross-platform. It runs on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. It supports over 300 tablets, and it's high performance and stable, and very stable actually. And it's actively developed. In fact, Cube, who you've seen in chat, he is one of the leading OpenTablet Driver developers. And another thing is, the population that uses OpenTablet Driver primarily seems to be OSU players. It's a game where people click on circles. Now, artists can use OpenTablet Driver, and it's very useful in several cases. Number one, we often see that tablets, especially when they're old, they're just no longer supported. You may not be able to get drivers that work with a modern OS. And this happens with very old tablets. This can happen even with tablets that are just 10 years old. But it definitely occurs, and it's very frustrating because these tablets physically last for decades, and suddenly drivers or operating system changes prevent them from working. And sometimes, honestly, manufactured drivers just have problems with these tablets. It could just be a bug in the driver or some weird interaction with the driver and the operating system. So, for those reasons, often, the tablet can't be used because of a driver issue or there's some kind of other issue. OpenTablet Driver is a viable candidate for getting your tablet back in action. But the challenge is, and especially on Windows, it's really difficult to install and configure OpenTablet Driver because there's just a lot of steps, and also it's missing a lot of features that you have just come to assume would be in a manufactured tablet driver, right? Because OSU players just don't need those features. So, and they know this, they would like to improve it to make it work better for artists. And that's tracked in the OpenTablet Driver GitHub repo. So they know all about it. It's all like something they'd like to do. And maybe one day they can do it. But to address the more immediate need, right, of the difficulty installing and the missing features, and also it takes so much expertise to use, I made something, which is OpenTablet Artist. Now, to understand OpenTablet Artist, you need to understand just one key thing about OpenTablet Driver. There are actually two pieces, which is the driver itself, called the daemon, and then the application, the UI for it. These are two separate things. The real driver is the daemon, and the application just configures the daemon. Now that you know that, OpenTablet Artist is much easier to understand. It is just another UI application that talks to the same daemon. Okay? So it's you could use either one. You could use them at the same time, honestly, if you wanted to. So OpenTablet Artist has a different sense of what it's really about and who it's for. And its audience is non-technical artists. You have to repeat that. Non-technical artists. People who really don't want to get interested in configuring things and installing things, and for whom a lot of the terminology and steps would be just amazingly baffling for people. And they certainly aren't tablet experts, even if they've used tablets for a long time, right? So they're not going to come at you with, oh, here's how EMR works. They just use their tablets to draw. And finally, they certainly are not OSU players. So they're not familiar with the OpenTablet Driver ecosystem and some of the terminology. So we have to keep that in mind. OTA has a very different audience than your typical OTD user. So what is it? What is the key value OTA provides? Well, first, it just works. That's the idea. Someone's supposed to just install it and it will just work for you. Second, it's got to meet all the expectations an artist would have. Because remember, a normal manufacturing tablet driver has lots of features that OTA just doesn't have, primarily, I think, because OSU players don't need them. And finally, this isn't a hard requirement, but it was really a big goal to be visually appealing. Now, OTA, as it's currently implemented, is Windows only because I primarily use Windows, and that's where I struggled with installing and configuring OTA. And that's where I struggled with. I couldn't get it to do everything I sort of expected it to do. It actually does compile for Mac. And in fact, the Mac version is actually mostly working. But I have not released it officially yet because there's some more testing that has to get done. But I think overall it will work almost exactly like the current version that I have released on GitHub. On Linux, I have just started with OTA. Parts of it work, not all the features are there. And the other challenge, as I'm discovering, is it's not exactly trivial to get started on Linux. I thought on Linux it'd be actually trivial to get it working, because I thought Linux came with a bunch of capabilities. That turns out I'm running on Fedora, and a whole bunch of things have to be configured, which I don't even know how to explain because I'm not even a Linux user. So that's a completely separate and distinct work from both Windows and Mac OS. Things that surprised me. And again, I'm not capable even of discussing what those things are because I'm not a Linux expert. So I would say the Linux version just isn't working yet. Hopefully it will. Hopefully I can get it working on more than just Fedora. Okay, but right now it's just Windows only. Though if you want to try out the Mac version, just let me know. I'll be happy to give you a version that works on Mac OS because I need people's feedback. Okay, so what is the current status of OTA right now? All the core features are complete. It can successfully be used as a drawing tablet driver. I use it that way right now. It has become my primary driver. And I'm actually being a bit unfair when I say this. Again, the driver is Open Tablet Driver, but the additional features that I'm talking about in OTA all work, okay? So I don't want to take credit for the stability and the features of the driver, that's OTD. But OTA's feature set, which is in addition to that, which you'll see, are complete. I'm just fixing bugs, responding to feedback. I would characterize OTA still, if you look at the UI, it'll say the word beta in there. I think probably a more fair description is it's experimental. It is something that I think will work well for Windows by making lots of changes. Sometimes those changes are breaking and I have to fix them, but it is overall stable, but I'm not really quite confident enough yet to say, hey everybody, a broad audience should start using it, though I think it is worth a try, especially for those people who are having this kind of very difficult situation where your Wacom or Huion or XP driver is having problems. And maybe you've actually even tried Open Tablet Driver. Maybe it's even installed, but you're getting frustrated with how difficult it is to use it. This application might be for you in that case. And again, I really need the feedback. Okay. So I want to go over the evolution of OTA. It started off as a PowerShell script, which I manually wrote, and it downloaded and installed and configured OTD and various components. And it did a decent job of that. To be honest, looking back on it now, it probably was incomplete. I don't think I realized all the things it had to do, but it worked well enough. But I always felt that script was very fragile, and I hated it running as a PowerShell script because, well, it just wasn't very friendly. So using Claude Code, I actually had it take the learnings of the PowerShell script and create a Windows WPF application, so a Windows application with a nice UI that did the very same thing, but essentially acted as a widget. In fact, I showed you that application, and I developed it live on stream. And in its third stage, I took it to the next level. Because remember, in stage 1 and 2, OTA was really all about install and configure OTD. And it just did those tasks. But now, it's actually a full driver user experience. It not only does the install and configuration, it automates that in a much better way. It adds many missing features, and it has gone, this is more of a developer point, it is now implemented not as a WPF application, but an Avalonia application. The reasons and the benefits for that aren't entirely obvious, so I'm not going to get into that right now, but trust me, you're getting an overall more polished and more performant experience with Avalonia than WPF. Now, again, this project required assisted coding. Stage 1 was all manually written, but 2 and 3 was all done with Anthropic Claude. And I know some of you may not like that, don't like the idea of any AI being involved in anything, but I'd ask you to set aside some of your misgivings and try it out, because you might find out that it solves your need. And the other thing is, this is more a reflection of how it works. Anthropic Claude did a lot of heavy lifting, that's for sure. Like all the UI layers written. It didn't write the driver, that was written by people like Cube. So it is not a product only of AI effort, it's a product also of human effort. What was my effort in building OTA? Well, I did a lot of testing. There's lots of reasoning about this, which an investigation that has to get done, and directing the AI. So have I looked at any of the code? A little bit, but really effectively developing it is a deeper conversation with Claude. And I just want to be, again, upfront about this because some people care. So we'll start with just taking a good look at what OTA looks like and explaining why it looks that way. So what you're looking at is the home page of OTA. There are six pages: home, tablet, pen, scribble, settings, and advanced. We're looking at the home page. And the first thing you need to know about OTA is we can dive into, before I dive into that, I want to talk about why the UI looks this way. It doesn't have a traditional menu system. This UI was inspired by Microsoft's Zune. The Zune design language really focused on using typography to help organize how the UI worked. And you saw that in the Zune player as well as the Zune desktop app. And it was very aesthetically pleasing. And that's why this application has a default pink theme, which is called Sakura, and why it has text looking like this. And you'll see more of the navigation style and how driven it is by typography as we go through it. But that's the overarching vision for the UI. We can use typography. Installation is pretty easy. You just download from GitHub. There'll be a zip file, and then you unzip the zip file, and there's a program there called OpenTabletArtist.exe. Just launch it. You don't need to do anything else beforehand. The application will tell you what you need to do. It will guide you through anything. And if possible, it will just do it for you. Okay? And you'll see that as we go through the UI. Okay, I need to take a quick break because I have run out of water. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So let's get back into the installation. So I left saying that OTA will just tell you what to do, or it'll just do it for you. And that's an important thing to remember. And we can see that by starting at the home page. So this is the home page, which I've already showed you. We're going to dive into a few sections here. The first is the needs attention section. Per its name, it will tell you when it needs your attention. And whenever possible, it'll flag issues and it'll tell you, it'll have a fix button. And if you press the fix button, it will fix the issue for you. Or sometimes you'll see a review button, which means it'll take you somewhere where you'll look at what's going on and you can choose what to do. Because not everything necessarily needs to be fixed sometimes. Sorry. So something's in my throat. For some things, you might need to think about if you need to do them at all. Okay, so let's just take a look at the two issues that are being flagged here. This is what you will typically see the first time you use OTA. It'll tell you two things, or potentially two things. Number one, it'll tell you vMulti driver is not installed. Now, the vMulti driver is needed on Windows because without it, you won't get pressure sensitivity. Okay, remember, this is for artists. So from my perspective, an artist will need pressure sensitivity. So this is flagged as an important item. And you'll click fix and it'll take you somewhere where vMulti it'll actually download vMulti for you and install it. Okay. What is the second thing? It says conflicting tablet driver detected. Well, on Windows, it is good if you only have one tablet driver installed. Okay. And so you want to remove the other tablet drivers. It'll take you to a place somewhere else in the UI where you'll install, and it'll download it for you and it'll install it for you. Sorry. And then you'll run this tablet driver cleanup tool. And that will remove these additional, these leftover things. Now, to be clear, you should first uninstall the tablet driver manually. The tablet driver cleanup tool is to remove the additional bits. That's probably not totally clear in the UI. So I'll make a note of myself to make that improvement. Now, this is another thing that demonstrates how the needs attention section will help you. In this case, somebody has disabled a bunch of features. I manually did that. And now it's telling you, hey, this specific tablet, Wacom PTK-870, is not set up for drawing because there are 4 different things that have been configured that would be bad for an artist. Okay? And the reason this is flagged as something is off, and you don't have to fix it, but if you don't, you're going to be missing some things. And maybe it's okay. For example, some people disable tilt, and that is reasonable, but we do flag it as something that needs attention. If you click fix, all 4 of these issues will be automatically immediately fixed. Now, there's many more things that can pop up and needs attention. I'm not going to go over them in this video or in this stream, but you get the. Oh, hi, Medon. Good to see you. Thanks for joining our stream. Appreciate it. Okay, hang on. And then in the Your Tablet section are all the tablets that the OTA application has detected on your system. You can see in this case there are 2 tablets. One, the PTK-870, that's the Intuos Pro Large. You can see a little connected icon there, meaning, oh, we are detecting it right now. Like we can talk to that tablet right now. And then another one is the the XP Pen. Sorry, I need it. Something caught in my throat again. The XP Pen Deco L, which is shown as not detected. That means at some point in the past, you plugged it in, OTA found it, but it's not finding it right now. And that probably is because you disconnected the cable, or it could be something else. It could be a problem in some other thing. But whatever the reason, we know the tablet was, we were talking to it, but now it's no longer talking to us. The reason this is done was twofold. First of all, many users get confused when there's a problem detecting a tablet and the tablet vanishes from the UI. So the UI tries to remember these previously connected tablets. If you don't want to see them, you can just delete the record of it. Nothing happens. It'll get redetected if you plug it back in. So what's happening here is it follows the traditional Bluetooth model, where it'll tell you if you previously connected and show you which ones are connected. That's the UI pattern going on here. And I think it'll save people some frustration. On the tablet page, there are 5 tabs: About, Mapping, Calibration, Buttons, and Wheels. So About just shows you some information about tablets, like their name, the size of the active area, etc. Mapping shows you where the active area is mapped to, which display. Here you can see 3 displays, and it's mapped to display number 2. And you just click on the display, and it'll get mapped. Now, one thing that is very important to notice here, which is very different from OpenTablet Driver, the second you make a configuration change, that change is both applied and saved. OpenTablet Driver works very differently. You have to there's actually 2 separate buttons for this, and I habitually press both, but this is just done automatically for you, because this is how a manufactured tablet driver behaves. Some other things you'll notice here is there's a display settings button. If you press that, you'll get taken to the display settings UI from Windows, so you can do things like rearrange the monitors. And below there, you'll see a list of the detected displays. So you can see there's their name, the resolution, refresh rate, which port they're using, really good in debugging, and which display adapter they're connected to. That also can be very useful in debugging. Now, on the left is which monitor, which display it's being mapped to. On the right is how the tablet's active area is being used. So what you're seeing here is almost the entire active area is being used. And one thing that OTA will do, because it's very opinionated on certain topics, it will always map the active area in a way that is proportional to the mapped display. In other words, what Wacom would call force proportions is enforced in OTA. You'll never get distorted strokes with OTA. Now, what you can do, if you don't want to use all the area, is you can just drag the handles and shrink the active area, but it'll always map to the size of the same proportions as the display. You can also rotate, right? And when you rotate, it'll show you the diagram a bit differently. So you see the active area on your tablet. So in this case, you have to imagine your tablet's getting rotated, but you can see how the active area is now on the tablet and how it maps to the display. I added in OTA a calibration tab. This lets you, when you're using a Cintiq, a pen display, it lets you deal with slight tracking issues with tablets. And there are 4 different calibrations you can do. The standard one is the 4-point calibration. You'll be asked to hold down your pen for about a second on 4 different points, and for 1 second each. And it'll actually record that information and store it. We'll talk about that in a second. And based on information, it will adjust how the pen's position is mapped. If you have a slightly inaccurate pen and tablet, this will fix that problem. Now, some tablets are more problematic. They're more challenging, maybe in this corner or this part of the screen. And it's for that reason OTA supports not only 4-point calibration, but 9-point and even 25-point calibration. Okay? And also, this calibration data, remember you have to hold it for a second. You might be playing around with it, and you might want to you might have messed it up with more calibrations. You can always go back and restore it. So for example, you can export a calibration and then re-import it. So you'll never get in trouble here. If something's not working for you, you can always go save a backup before you did it and get back to where you were. Now thinking about this, I should probably add I probably should add a feature here which is this isn't working for me. I like the previous calibration, go back to it. So I'll consider a kind of undo state here to get back to where we were. That way you don't even have to use export and import. The other reason export and import though are available here is that it's useful for debugging. In case someone tells me there's something weird about the tablet, I can have Claude look at the calibration data and see if there's something weird. And it's actually helped me out quite a bit. You can map tablet buttons to take actions. They're all mapped here to do nothing, but If you click on the pencil icon to edit, here's a virtual keyboard, and you can just click on Control Alt and like F or something, and it'll create that shortcut. Here are the tablet wheels. Now it's not obvious here because this is a screenshot, but if your tablet has wheels, you can set actions on the clockwise and counterclockwise rotation. And the wheel, again, it's not obvious here because this is just a screenshot. If you turn, there's actually a little bit of an animation on the wheel indicating which direction you're turning the wheel. Now we'll go to the pen page. And the pen page has 3 tabs: basics, input, and pressure. For basics, it's all about how the pen moves and what happens when you press it. Movement is really absolute versus relative movement. So what we call relative movement is what we call mouse mode. Artists, though, normally want the normal absolute mode, so that's what's selected here by default. Also on the left, you'll see a position smoothing slider. Some tablets have a little bit of noise and jitter. That will help eliminate some of that smoothing. It's not meant for like artistic smoothing, it's just for eliminating jitter. So it doesn't give you like the maximum smoothing possible. On the right, you have a setting called an area called pressing. So pressing is how, in this case, Windows. This is really a Windows specific setting. How Windows should deal with you holding down the pen. Now, by default, here it's not configured to the default. By default, it'll be set to presses like a drawing tablet pen, which is what you want. That's what an artist would want. But for some apps, that behavior does weird things. This is a Windows bug. It's not an issue with the tablet or Open Tablet Driver. It's just Windows being Windows. So for those cases, you may want to select presses like a mouse. And that's what this option is there for. And so you'll lose tilt and pressure, but at least the pen will work like you expect. In the pen in the pen page, there's also an inputs tab. Now here it's a little different. It'll let you configure tip, eraser, and many buttons you have. Now the catch here is on Windows, there's really only one effective, useful setting, which is adaptive binding. And so you don't get any flexibility in configuring things. You just really need to use adaptive binding. OTA considers anything except that to be a strange thing, and it will tell you to fix it. You can see it right here. Like in this case, someone has configured the tip to do something else, like use. So it's like, nope, use adaptive. There's a problem here. You need to use adaptive. And you click it and it'll get fixed. Again, it is always scanning for weird things. And so if it detects something weird, it will tell you and fix it if possible. Under pen, we also get the pressure tab. And here's a pressure curve. And you can directly move the curve by the middle node. That has the same effect as changing the softness slider. So you can make it harder or softer. And there are 3 presets available. There's also pressure smoothing to deal with sometimes a little bit of noisy pressure, especially when you get close to the IAF. Most EMR pens are pretty noisy there and get kind of blobby strokes. This will stop that problem. And again, this pressure smoothing is not intended as an artistic effect. It's intended to solve that weird pressure problem. So you can't max it out and do something super crazy with it. Now, you can also, once you've set these settings, you can actually just draw in this canvas and you can see what the effects are. Now you notice above, there's a raw and process. You can actually see what the raw data is coming for pressure and how this curve and smoothing slider actually affect it. That's the green value. And actually the red and green also are on this gauge. So here you can see my actual raw pressure is pretty high, but because of the curve and the smoothing, it's actually kind of delayed a little bit. You'll see that green kind of follow the red slowly, depending on the settings. The scribble page is supposed to help you test out issues. And this is not just about pressure. This will, whatever the settings are, they're all applied here. And the scribble setting lets you paint with several brushes. These aren't meant to be artistic brushes, more testing brushes, okay? And you may also notice there's a toggle here that switches between app and driver. App means it tries to behave like an application would, meaning it uses Windows Ink. And in the driver, it's using the raw data that OTD has available. This will help you debug certain issues. In fact, I've solved certain issues with how the pen works by switching between these. But normally either one is fine. If you see any discrepancy, let me know. On the settings page, and this is where we start getting to more advanced things most people probably don't need to get into, but I want to make sure you know about them, especially if you have experience with OTD. All OTD settings can be saved as a preset, so this just allows you to do that, save and restore. OTA supports hotkeys, so you can bind a hotkey so you can toggle between displays, or bind a hotkey to a specific preset in case you want to switch really quickly. And then appearance lets you switch between, tweak the UI. Now, there are several themes, and normally you can just select a theme and you'll be happy. The one you're looking at is called Sakura, which is this pink theme. But there's also just a system theme, which is very boring, and then there's light and dark. And there's dark, Sakura, and custom, and those are really, these are kind of experimental. So I wouldn't say fool around with them because you'll get yourself into trouble. But if you do, click the button that says reset to defaults, and then all your changes will be wiped away, and you'll get back to some reasonable default. In the System tab under Settings, on the left, you'll see two options. One enables OTA to start when Windows starts, and the other will enable a Start menu shortcut. And you can uncheck those to remove those things. On the right, OTA is telling the user, hey, you remember you saw this on the homepage actually. There's some driver bits that are installed, and it's directing you to run the tablet driver cleanup tool. On the developer page, this really isn't for a normal user. This is really for me or anyone else who wants to, play with the code. This is for me to try out certain weird situations so I know that the OTA UI is responding correctly. It'll trigger errors actually, so that I see that the OTA app is actually detecting the errors. And that's it. That is actually the entire OTA experience, and I'm glad I did this dry run with you because I discovered in the middle of doing this, there's some areas I need to refine in how I explain what OTA is doing, but overall, it went pretty smoothly, I'd say. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna wind down the stream now. I think we've covered everything I wanted to cover, and we went on for about almost 4 hours. Didn't seem like 4 hours, never does. Yeah, this was a fun stream, and I learned a lot. Again, on Friday, the Cintiq 32 will arrive. Either Friday night or Saturday at some point, I will actually do a stream talking about the Wacom Cintiq 32 and setting it up. It'll be a monster to set up on this desk, but we'll see how it works. Everyone, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. I had a great time interacting with you in chat, and I'll see you all soon.